My new wife said, "I'm keeping my ex-husband's last name after we marry. It sounds better than yours." I nodded. Then I quietly returned the $20,000 wedding dress and booked a solo trip to Paris. What she found in her closet the next morning left her speechless. I'm standing in our kitchen, the one I renovated myself, pulling up linoleum tiles at midnight after 12-hour shifts because Maya said she dreamed of herringbone wood floors, and she's looking at me like I've just asked her to donate a kidney. "I'm keeping my ex-husband's last name," she says again, slower this time, as if I'm hard of hearing. "After we marry, professionally and legally. Chen sounds better than Kowalski. It's cleaner, more elegant." The coffee maker gurgles behind her. It's one of those expensive Italian ones she insisted we needed, the kind that costs more than my first car. Steam rises between us like a wall. I nod. That's all I do. Just nod. Because what do you say when the woman you're supposed to marry in 43 days tells you she'd rather keep her ex-husband's name than take yours? What's the appropriate response when someone looks you in the eye and says your family name, the one your grandfather carried through Ellis Island, the one your father wore on his police badge for 30 years, the one that's carved on tombstones in 3 states, sounds worse than the surname of the man she divorced for, and I quote, "emotional unavailability and chronic dismissiveness"? You nod. You stay calm. You remember that revenge isn't a explosion. It's a carefully documented audit. "Okay," I say quietly. Maya blinks. She was expecting a fight. I can see it in the way her shoulders are already squared, in how her fingers drum against the marble countertop. Another upgrade she needed. Brazilian stone. $8,000 installed. She's ready to defend her position with logic and statistics, and probably a TED Talk she watched about professional branding. "Okay?" she repeats, suspicious now. "If that's what you want." I take a sip of my coffee. It's bitter. I forgot sugar. Your name, your choice. Her eyes narrow. Maya has a law degree from Columbia and 7 years of litigation experience. She knows when someone's folding too easily. But she also has a wedding to plan, and I'm apparently being cooperative for once, so she takes the win. "I'm glad you understand," she says, and there's this edge of relief in her voice that makes my chest tight. Chen is established. I have publications under it, a reputation. Changing it would be confusing for clients. She kept Chen for 3 years after the divorce. 3 years. But sure, it's about client confusion. I nod again. I'm getting good at nodding. "I need to head out," I say, rinsing my mug in the sink. The water runs hot over my hands. Early meeting. It's Saturday. Emergency consultation. The Hoffman account. The lie comes smooth because it's based in truth. There is a Hoffman account. There's always a Hoffman account when you're a financial consultant who specializes in high net worth divorce planning. The irony isn't lost on me. Maya's already back on her phone, scrolling through what I assume are more wedding details. She's been obsessed with the wedding for months, not the marriage, mind you, the wedding. The 4-hour event that will cost more than most people's annual salary. I grab my keys from the hook by the door. They jingle, a small sound in the big silence between us. "Oh," Maya calls out, not looking up. "Can you pick up my dress from Kleinfeld's today? They called yesterday. Final alterations are done." The dress. The $20,000 dress that she saw in a bridal magazine and had to have. The one I put on my personal credit card because she maxed out our joint account on flowers. Peonies. They had to be peonies. Specifically, Sarah Bernhardt peonies, flown in from a specialty farm in Oregon. "Sure," I say. "You're the best," she murmurs, still scrolling. I close the door softly behind me. The hallway of our building, the luxury condo in Tribeca that I bought before we met, the one she moved into and immediately started redesigning, smells like someone's expensive breakfast. Truffle oil, maybe. Or saffron. The elevator arrives with a polite ding. My reflection stares back at me from the polished brass doors. 42 years old, decent shape despite the desk job, graying at the temples in that way that's supposed to be distinguished but mostly makes me look tired. I'm wearing the cashmere sweater Maya bought me for my birthday because, You need to dress like the money you manage, David, not like a substitute teacher. My father was a substitute teacher after he retired from the force. He loved it. Said kids needed consistency, needed someone who showed up and gave a damn. Kowalski. It's a good name, a strong name. The elevator descends smoothly. 43 floors. I count every one. By the time I reach the lobby, I've made my first decision. Kleinfeld's is in Chelsea, tucked between boutiques that sell $300 candles and restaurants where the waiters introduce themselves with their pronouns and aspirations. The kind of neighborhood where everyone looks like they're about to be photographed for a lifestyle blog. I've been here twice before, once when Maya found her dress and cried happy tears that I now suspect were mostly about the price tag. Once for her first fitting when they pinned and tucked and adjusted while she stood on a platform like a princess and I sat in a velvet chair like an ATM with feelings. Today, I'm alone. The sales associate Clarissa, her name tag reads, but she introduces herself as your bridal consultant and style liaison, recognizes me immediately. Mr. Kowalski, here for Mrs. Chen's gown? Mrs. Chen, not future Mrs. Kowalski. The staff already knows. Actually, I say, and my voice is steady, calm, the same tone I use when I'm explaining to clients that yes, their spouse really did hide $2 million in offshore accounts. I need to discuss the purchase. Clarissa's smile doesn't waver, but something shifts in her eyes. She's seen this before. Cold feet, canceled weddings, returned dreams. Of course. Let's step into a consultation room. The consultation room is all soft lighting and champagne-colored furniture. There's a box of tissues on the side table. Very thoughtful. I don't sit. I need to return the dress, I say. I see. Clarissa folds her hands. She's professional, kind even. May I ask if there's an issue with the alterations? We stand behind our work, and if there's anything, the dress is perfect. I interrupt gently. This isn't about the dress. She nods slowly. Understanding blooms across her face. Would you like me to process the return now, or would you prefer to discuss this with your fiancé present? It's a good question, a fair question. The dress is in Maya's name after all. But the payment? That's all me. $20,000 on my Chase Sapphire Reserve. I have the receipt. I have the card. I have the purchasing power. And I have the email from Kleinfeld's policy page pulled up on my phone. Returns accepted within 60 days of purchase with original receipt. Store credit or refund to original payment method. We're at day 47. Now, please, I say. Clarissa doesn't argue. Maybe she's seen enough broken engagements to know that the person standing in front of her has made up their mind. Maybe she just wants to avoid a scene. Either way, she excuses herself and returns 10 minutes later with a manager, some paperwork, and a very careful expression. The manager, Jeffrey, Salt and Pepper Hair, probably performs wedding ceremonies on the weekend as a side hustle goes through the motions, confirms the purchase, checks the receipt, asks gently if I'm certain. Completely, I say. This will be refunded to your card within 7 to 10 business days, Jeffrey explains. The full amount, minus the $500 deposit, which was unfortunately non-refundable as stated in the original contract, is work sporting's $19,500 back. I can live with that. We're very sorry to see this happen, Jeffrey continues, and he actually sounds sincere. If circumstances change, we'd be happy to work with you again. I shake his hand. I shake Clarissa's hand. I walk out of Kleinfeld's with a receipt that says return processed and a feeling in my chest that's somewhere between relief and freefall. The dress, Maya's dream dress, the one with the silk charmeuse bodice and the chapel-length train and the hand-beaded lace that probably required 6 artisans and a magnifying glass, will go back into inventory. Some other bride will try it on. Some other groom will pay for it. But not me. Not for a woman who thinks my name isn't good enough. The next stop isn't planned. I find myself walking, aimless at first, until I realize I'm heading toward Midtown, toward the building where I work, toward my office with the leather chair and the mahogany desk and the computer that holds every financial record I've meticulously kept for the last 3 years. I scan my key card. It's Saturday, so the building is quiet. Just weekend security and a few associates pulling overtime. The elevator ride up is faster without the weekday crowds.
My office smells like the sandalwood candle Maya bought me.
For ambiance, David, you can't just have an office that smells like paper and sadness and coffee. Always coffee. I sit down at my desk and open my laptop. Then I open a new folder. I title it Personal Financial Review. Then I start compiling every receipt, every transaction, every payment I've made since Maya and I moved in together 2 years ago. The apartment she redecorated. The furniture she insisted we needed. The art she bought from a gallery in Soho. The weekend trips to vineyards in Napa. The standing reservation at her favorite omakase restaurant, where dinner for two costs $800 before drinks. The numbers stack up like evidence in a trial. I'm good at this. It's literally what I do for a living. Forensic financial analysis for divorce attorneys. I find the hidden assets. I track the spending patterns. I build airtight cases that show exactly who contributed what to the marital estate. We're not married yet, but we've been living like we are, and the records don't lie. In 24 months, I've spent $247,000 on our shared life. That includes rent, which I paid in full until she moved in. Then she contributed $1,000 a month to my $8,500. Renovations, furniture, her car lease, vacations, the engagement ring, wedding deposits, and countless dinners, flowers, gifts, and spontaneous purchases that she wanted and I provided. Maya's contributions. Approximately $38,000, mostly in rent supplements and the occasional grocery run. I sit back in my chair. The leather creaks. $209,000 difference. I'm not angry. That's the strange part. I'm not even surprised. I'm just clear, like someone turned on a light in a room I'd been stumbling through in the dark. My phone buzzes. A text from Maya. Did you get the dress? Trying to figure out when to do the final try-on with the seamstress. Maybe tomorrow? I stare at the message for a long moment. Then I type, change of plans. We need to talk. No. Delete that. Too dramatic. Too obvious. Instead, something came up with the dress. I'll explain tonight. Her response is immediate. Is it damaged? Did they mess up the alterations? David, I swear, if they... Nothing like that. Talk later. Promise. I silence my phone and turn back to my computer. By the time I leave my office 4 hours later, I have a complete financial dossier, a documented timeline, and a plan that's starting to take shape, like a photograph in developing solution. I also have a confirmation email from Air France. 1 ticket to Paris, business class, departing in 6 days. Just 1 ticket. The flight leaves at 7 p.m. on what would have been our final wedding dress fitting appointment. I'll be 35,000 feet over the Atlantic when Maya realizes I'm not coming home. The apartment is dark when I get home. Not unusual. Maya had mentioned something about a spinning class followed by drinks with her bridesmaids. Her bridesmaids. 7 women who barely tolerate each other, but who all agreed to wear $400 dresses in a shade. Maya calls blush, and I call millennial pink. I paid for those dresses too. A gift, Maya said. Traditional for the groom to contribute to the bridal party expenses. I didn't know that was traditional. But I also didn't know a lot of things 3 years ago. I flip on the kitchen lights. Everything gleams back at me. The marble, the Italian appliances, the custom cabinetry. I installed myself because Maya wanted authentic craftsmanship. Not some contractor's half-assed work. I spent 6 weekends building those cabinets, measured twice, cut once. My father's voice in my head the whole time. He would have loved this kitchen. He would have hated why I built it. I pour myself 2 fingers of the Macallan 18 that Maya bought me for Christmas, $350 a bottle. But she said I deserved to drink what the partners drink, and I stand at the window overlooking the city. Saturday night in New York. Millions of people out there living their lives, making their choices. Some of them good, some terrible. All of them thinking they're doing the right thing. My phone buzzes. Running late. Steph is having a crisis about her toast. She thinks it's not funny enough. I'll be home by 11. Did you eat? I did not eat. I also did not pick up her dress, which she still doesn't know. I'm good. Take your time. I reply. Then I walk to our bedroom. Our bedroom, where the sheets are Italian linen, because Maya read that thread count is actually a marketing scam, and what matters is the quality of the fiber. $600 for a set, and I stand in front of her closet. Maya's closet is a work of art. Custom built-ins, velvet hangers, LED lighting, organized by color and season and occasion. It's bigger than my first apartment. I open the door where her wedding dress should be hanging. The space is empty, waiting. A void in ivory and white. Instead, I hang something else. The printed financial dossier, all 47 pages of it, bound neatly with a black clip. The title page reads, Financial Analysis, Kowalski-Chen Household, 24-month review. Below that, in smaller text, prepared by David Kowalski, CFP, for personal review and reflection. I hang it on one of those fancy velvet hangers, right at eye level, exactly where the dress should be. Then, because I'm apparently committed to this theatrical production, I attach a note to the front page. Clean white cardstock. My handwriting, neat and measured. You wanted a name that sounded better. I wanted a partnership that felt better. We both made choices. Here's the receipt. I step back. The dossier hangs there like a ghost of a wedding dress, full of numbers instead of dreams. Then I go to my own closet, considerably smaller, considerably less organized, and I pack. Not everything. That would be too obvious. Just enough for 2 weeks. Casual clothes mostly. A blazer, the good shoes, my passport from the safe. The watch my father gave me when I graduated college, the Seiko he'd worn for 20 years before that. I pack the way. I do everything. Methodically, calmly, with intention. By the time I'm done, I have 1 suitcase and 1 carry-on. My laptop bag, my phone charger, everything else, the cashmere sweaters, the designer jeans, the accessories Maya curated for me, stays. I leave the bags in my closet. Tomorrow I'll move them to my office. No need to accelerate the timeline. My phone buzzes again. Change of plans. Going back to Steph's to help her rewrite. Might just crash there. Love you. Perfect. I settle onto the couch, the $12,000 sectional from Italy that took 8 months to arrive, and I open my laptop. I have work to do. Real work. The kind that pays my salary and funds the life Maya has built around us. But first, I open a new document. I title it, Letter to Maya. Then I stare at the blank page for 20 minutes. What do you say to someone who's about to discover that the man she thought was quietly accepting her decisions has actually been quietly documenting them? How do you explain that love, real love, shouldn't feel like a series of negotiations where one person always pays the tab? Finally, I start typing. Maya, by the time you read this, you'll have found the financial analysis in your closet. You'll probably be angry. You might call me controlling, vindictive, petty. You might tell your friends I'm making a big deal out of nothing. You might even be right. But here's what I need you to understand. This isn't about the money. Okay, it's a little about the money. $209,000 is not nothing. That's 4 years of college tuition. That's a down payment on a house. That's my father's entire pension for 3 years. But really, it's about what the money represents. Every time I paid for something, the renovations, the furniture, the trips, the dress, I told myself it was because I loved you, because I wanted you to be happy. Because providing for someone you love is what you do. And maybe that's true. Maybe I did love you. Maybe I still do. But somewhere along the way, I started to notice something. You were happy to take what I offered, but you never actually saw me offering it. It became expected, assumed. My money, my time, my effort, it all became invisible, like oxygen. You only notice oxygen when it's gone. When you told me you were keeping your ex-husband's name, something shifted, because it wasn't just about the name. It was about what that choice revealed. You kept his name for 3 years after the divorce. 3 years. But you can't take mine after marriage? Because his sounds better? Because yours is established? Maya, You have a law degree. You've been practicing for 7 years. You know exactly how this looks. It looks like you value what he gave you, a surname, a credential, a professional identity more than what I'm offering. And what I'm offering is everything. My name, my home, my resources, my future. But here's the thing I realized today. Standing in that bridal boutique, I don't want to marry someone who thinks everything I offer isn't quite good enough. I don't want to be the dependable option, the safe choice, the guy who pays for everything while you keep souvenirs from someone else. I want to be someone's first choice, not their financial advisor, not their general contractor, not their patron, their partner. And we're not partners, Maya. We're not even close. The numbers prove it. But honestly, I didn't need a spreadsheet to know. I needed you to tell me my name wasn't good enough. That was the proof. I stopped typing. My hands are shaking slightly. I save the document, but I don't send it. Not yet. Maybe not ever. Maybe the financial dossier is enough. Maybe she'll see those numbers and understand what I'm trying to say. Or maybe she'll see those numbers and call her attorney friends and tell them her fiancé is having a breakdown over wedding expenses. Either way, the truth is hanging in her closet, waiting. I don't sleep well. I never do before big decisions. Instead, I lie on the couch. I can't bring myself to sleep in our bed, and I think about my father. He died 2 years ago. Heart attack. Quick. The doctor said he probably didn't even know what was happening. 1 minute he was grading essays on the Reconstruction era. The next, he was gone. We scattered his ashes in Lake Michigan, off the shore where he used to take me fishing when I was a kid. My mother stood on the boat in her black dress and her sunglasses, and she said, "He was a good man. He showed up. He did the work." That's all anyone can ask. That's all anyone can ask. I've been showing up. I've been doing the work. But for who? My phone lights up in the darkness. 2:47 a.m. A text from Maya. Couldn't sleep. Missing you. Can't wait to be your wife. My chest tightens. She has no idea. In her mind, everything is fine. We're getting married in 43 days. She'll keep her ex's name. I'll smile in the photos. And life will continue exactly as it's been. She'll redecorate. I'll pay for it. She'll want to travel. I'll book it. She'll dream bigger. I'll fund it. And one day, maybe 5 years from now, maybe 10, she'll realize she's not happy, that her life with dependable David Kowalski isn't exciting enough, isn't prestigious enough, isn't enough, and she'll leave. And the divorce attorney she hires will be someone I probably trained. The irony is so sharp I almost laugh. Instead, I text back, "Sleep well, big day tomorrow." Because tomorrow, technically today, now is Sunday. And tomorrow Maya will wake up in Steph's guest room or stumble home around noon. And eventually, she'll go to her closet to check on her dress. And she'll find what I left instead. I close my eyes. Outside, the city hums. Sirens, horns, the bass line from someone's party bleeding through expensive walls. Somewhere in Paris, it's almost 9 a.m. Cafes are opening. People are buying fresh bread. The Seine is reflecting morning light. In 6 days, I'll be there. In 6 days, Maya will either understand or she won't. But either way, I'll be 3,600 miles away, drinking espresso in a city where no one knows my name. Either version of it. And that sounds exactly right. I wake to sunlight streaming through the windows. The massive, floor-to-ceiling windows that cost $30,000 to replace because Maya wanted European tilt-and-turn functionality. I'm still on the couch. My neck hurts. The Macallan bottle is on the coffee table, emptier than I remember. My phone says 10:23 a.m. 3 texts from Maya. Good morning. 7:45 a.m. Heading home soon. Want me to grab bagels? 9:12 a. Hello. You alive? LOL. 10:15. I text back. Alive. Coffeed. No bagels needed. Then I get up, shower, make myself presentable. I put on jeans and a t-shirt. Not the expensive ones Maya bought. The old ones. The Levi's I've had for 10 years. The Northwestern shirt from my MBA program. Clothes that remember who I was before I became someone's renovation fund. I make coffee. Real coffee. Not from the Italian machine. Just my old Mr. Coffee that I kept in the back of the cabinet. The one Maya calls charmingly vintage, which means embarrassingly cheap. It tastes perfect. I'm on my second cup when I hear her key in the lock. Maya breezes in like weather, all energy and motion, and the scent of expensive perfume. She's wearing athleisure that costs more than most people's business casual. Her hair is in a messy bun that took 15 minutes and 3 products to achieve. She looks beautiful. She always looks beautiful. There you are. She drops her Celine bag on the counter, $3,200. I didn't even blink when she bought it, and comes over to kiss my cheek. You look terrible. Did you sleep here? Worked late. Didn't want to wake you. The lies are getting easier. You work too hard. She pours herself coffee from the Italian machine, adds oat milk from the fridge. So, what happened with the dress? Your text was so cryptic. Here we go. There was an issue with the payment, I say carefully. I had to go in and sort it out. Oh God, did the charge not go through? Because I can. It's handled. She looks at me over her coffee cup. Those sharp litigator eyes, the ones that miss nothing in a deposition. You're being weird. Long week. It's Sunday. Long weekend then. She studies me for another moment, then shrugs. Well, I need to check on the dress anyway. The wedding is in 6 weeks, and I still need to... 43 days, I correct. Right, 43 days. She smiles. You're counting. That's sweet. She heads toward the bedroom. Still talking. Steph's toast is a disaster, by the way. She tried to make it funny, but it just comes off mean. Like she's roasting me instead of celebrating us. I told her to start over. She was not happy. Her voice trails off. I hear the closet door open. Then, silence. Long, heavy silence that fills the apartment like water. I stay in the kitchen. I sip my coffee. I wait. David? Her voice is different now. Careful, confused. David, can you come here? I walk to the bedroom slowly, each step measured. When I reach the doorway, Maya is standing in front of her closet, holding the dossier in both hands like it might explode. She's read the note. Her face is a composition in disbelief. What is this? Exactly what it says. Financial analysis. Of us? Of our household expenses, contributions, distribution of costs. Her eyes scan the first page. I watch her process the numbers. Watch the color drain from her face, then rush back as anger. You made a spreadsheet of our relationship? I make spreadsheets for a living, Maya. This is... She flips through pages. Her hands are shaking. This is insane. You tracked every dollar, every receipt, every transaction. Yes. Why? The word comes out sharp, accusatory. Why would you do this? I lean against the doorframe. Calm, steady. Because I wanted to see the truth, and numbers don't lie. The truth? She's getting louder now. The truth about what? About who's actually invested in this relationship. Her jaw drops. Are you seriously suggesting because I make less money than you that I'm not invested? I'm not suggesting anything. I'm showing you data. Data. She laughs, but it's not a happy sound. You're treating our life together like a fucking audit. Isn't it? I push off the door frame, step closer. Let me ask you something, Maya. If we got married and divorced tomorrow, what would you walk away with? We're not getting divorced. Hypothetically. She stares at me. I don't know. I haven't thought about it. I have. You'd walk away with half of everything we built together. This apartment, my apartment that I bought before we met, would be marital property. The renovations I paid for, the furniture, the art, all of it, split 50-50. That's how marriage works, David. Is it? Because from where I'm standing, it looks like I'm funding your lifestyle while you keep one foot in your past. Lace, end quote, and end quote. My past? Now she's genuinely confused. Chen, I say quietly. Your ex-husband's name. The one you're keeping. The one that sounds better than mine. Understanding crashes over her face. Oh my God. This is about the name thing? Are you kidding me right now? It's not about the name. It's about what the name represents. It represents my professional identity. It represents your priorities. We're both standing now, facing each other across the bedroom. The dossier hangs between us, like evidence in a trial neither of us agreed to. Maya's breathing hard. I cannot believe you're doing this. 6 weeks before our wedding. 43 days. You're creating relationship spreadsheets and hiding my wedding dress. And she stops. Her eyes go wide. Where is my dress, David? Where is my dress? Faye, where is my dress? David. I meet her gaze. Hold it. I returned it. The words land like a slap. You. What? I returned it yesterday. Full refund, minus the deposit. Her face goes through several emotions at once. Shock, rage, disbelief, fear. You can't do that. That's my dress. I chose it. I paid for it. That doesn't give you the right AB. Actually, it does. It was purchased on my credit card. My name on the receipt. Legally, completely within my rights to return. She's crying now. Tears of fury streaming down her face. This is cruel. This is deliberately cruel. Is it? I ask softly. Is it crueler than telling your fiancé his name isn't good enough? Is it crueler than spending 2 years treating someone like a wallet with feelings? She chokes on the words. I never treated you like that. Is it click to do that? I gesture to the dossier. The numbers tell a different story. She throws it. The pages scatter across the floor like evidence at a crime scene. Fuck your numbers. Fuck your spreadsheets. This isn't how love works. Then how does it work, Maya? Explain it to me. Because from where I'm standing, love looks a lot like respect and partnership and maybe, just maybe, being willing to take someone's name when you marry them. That's not fair. None of this is fair. We stand there, breathing hard, surrounded by scattered pages of financial truth. Finally, Maya wipes her eyes. When she speaks, her voice is cold, professional, the voice she uses in court. What do you want? I want you to read it, I say, nodding at the papers. All of it. Every page. Every number. And then I want you to tell me if you still think this is a partnership. And then what? And then we decide if there's a wedding to plan. Her laugh is bitter. You've already decided. You returned the dress. The dress can be rebought. I pause. If there's a reason to. A reason? She's incredulous. You need a reason to marry me? I need a partner, Maya. Not a dependent. Not someone who's keeping her options open by maintaining her ex-husband's identity. A partner. I hate you right now, she whispers. I know. You ambushed me. In my own home. Our home. That I pay for. She flinches. Low blow. True blow. Maya grabs her bag from where she dropped it. Her hands are still shaking. I'm leaving. I can't. I need to think. I need to talk to someone who isn't you. Take the dossier, I say. Read it. We can talk when you're ready. She looks at the scattered pages. For a moment, I think she'll refuse. Then she bends down, gathering them roughly, shoving them into her bag. At the door, she turns back. You know what the saddest part is? What? I really loved you. The real you. Not your money. Not your apartment. You. Past tense? I ask. She doesn't answer, just walks out. The door closes with a soft click that sounds like an ending. I stand alone in the apartment, my apartment surrounded by all the expensive things we bought together. The silence is enormous. My phone is in my hand before I consciously decide to pick it up. I open my email, find the confirmation from Air France. 6 days, business class, 1 ticket. I forward the confirmation to my work email, adding a note. Out of office, Personal travel, November 10 to 24. Then I call my assistant. David? She sounds surprised. It's Sunday. I know. I need you to clear my calendar for the next 2 weeks, starting Thursday. 2 weeks? But the Morrison deposition. Reschedule it. Family emergency. There's a pause. Is everything okay? It will be, I say. And somewhere, in a part of my brain that handles hope and fear in equal measure, I believe it. The next 3 days pass in a strange kind of stasis. Maya doesn't come home. She doesn't call. She sends exactly 2 texts. Monday, 11:47 p.m. Staying at Steph's. Need space. Wednesday, 2:33 p.m. I read it. All of it. We need to talk. But not yet. I don't push. What would be the point? She has 47 pages of data to process. 2 years of financial evidence that show exactly how our relationship has functioned. The numbers are clear. I've been a provider, she's been a recipient, and neither of us questioned the arrangement until I did. I go to work. I meet with clients. I analyze other people's marriages, other people's money, other people's mistakes. A tech executive hiding Bitcoin from his wife. A surgeon whose shopping addiction has buried the family in debt. A venture capitalist who's been funneling money to a girlfriend in Singapore. Everyone's marriage is a disaster in its own unique way. Tuesday afternoon, I'm in a conference room with the Hoffman attorneys, the ones I actually do have, not the fictional emergency I invented when my phone buzzes. It's not Maya, it's the wedding planner. Dominique Laurent, French, impossibly chic, costs $15,000 just to have her answer emails. David, darling, we need to discuss the final vendor payments. The florist needs confirmation by Friday or we lose the peony contract. Can you and Maya come in tomorrow? I stare at the text for a long moment. The lawyers are still talking about asset division and forensic accounting, their voices a background hum. Peonies. Sarah Bernhardt peonies from Oregon. The ones Maya insisted on. The ones that cost more than my first car. I type back. There may be a change of plans. We'll confirm by Friday. Dominique's response is immediate. A change? David, we're 40 days out. There's no flexibility at this stage. Everything is locked. Understood. I'll handle the cancellation fees if necessary. 3 dots appear. Disappear. Appear again. Then, let's talk before you make any rash decisions. Thursday, 10 a.m.? I agree to the meeting because it's easier than explaining that the decisions aren't rash at all. They're the opposite of rash. They're calculated, documented, and based on extensive data analysis. They're the most informed decisions I've ever made. Wednesday evening, I move my suitcases from the apartment to my office. I do it during the maintenance window, when the building staff are changing shifts. I don't want to explain to anyone why I'm leaving. I don't want the pitying looks from the doormen who've watched Maya and me come and go for 2 years. My office becomes a staging ground. 1 suitcase, 1 carry-on, my laptop, my passport, the watch my father gave me, now packed carefully in tissue paper. I also packed the letter I wrote to Maya, the one I've rewritten 4 times, the one that keeps getting shorter because I keep realizing that everything I want to say is already in the financial dossier. The current version is simple. Maya, I'm going to Paris for 2 weeks. I leave Thursday evening. When I come back, we can decide what comes next. But I can't make that decision while I'm standing in the middle of the life we built. I need distance. Perspective. I need to remember who I am when I'm not trying to be enough for someone who'll never think I am. If you want to talk before I leave, I'm available. If you need more time, I understand. But I need you to understand something too. I'm not doing this to punish you. I'm doing this to save myself. The wedding is in your hands. If you want to proceed, call Dominique. If you want to cancel, call Dominique. If you want to postpone, call Dominique. But don't call me unless you've decided what you actually want. Because I already know what I want. I want a partner who thinks my name is good enough. David. I print it on office letterhead, fold it into an envelope, address it to our apartment. Then I schedule it for courier delivery. Friday morning, after I'm gone. Cowardly? Maybe. Strategic? Definitely. Thursday arrives like a deadline. I meet with Dominique at her studio in Soho, a converted loft filled with fabric samples and mood boards and enough flowers to open a botanical garden. She air kisses my cheeks, both of them, very continental, and guides me to a velvet sofa that probably costs more than my monthly car payment. Coffee? Sparkling water? Champagne? She's already pouring champagne. It's 10 a.m., but apparently that's how wedding planners operate. Water's fine, I say. She hands me San Pellegrino in a crystal glass. So, tell Dominique what's happening. I like that she refers to herself in third person. It creates a helpful distance, like I'm confiding in an entity rather than a person. Maya and I are reassessing, I say carefully. Reassessing. Dominique nods sagely, as if people reassess $200,000 weddings all the time. Maybe they do. Is this cold feet or cold facts? Cold facts. Ah. She sips her champagne. Those are harder to warm up. I'm going to Paris tonight. I'll be gone 2 weeks. When I come back, we'll know more. Des crises. And if you don't come back together, then we cancel. Dominique doesn't flinch. She opens an iPad, scrolls through what I assume are vendor contracts and payment schedules. Let me be direct, David. You've paid $127,000 in deposits and vendor fees. Approximately $80,000 is non-refundable at this stage. The venue, the band, my fee, the photographer, all locked. I expected this. And the remaining $47,000? Could be recovered if we cancel now. This week, after Friday, we lose another $30,000 in contracted services. The math is simple. Cancel now, lose $80,000. Cancel next week, lose $110,000. Proceed with the wedding. Spend another $73,000. Total investment, $200,000. For a marriage to someone who won't take my name, what would you do, I ask. If you were me? Dominique sets down her champagne, leans forward. I've planned 347 weddings. You want to know how many couples I thought would make it? How many? Maybe 50. The number shocks me. That's bleak. That's honest. She smiles, but it's sad. People spend more time planning the wedding than planning the marriage. They obsess over centerpieces and ignore conversations. They want the perfect day, not the perfect life. Which category are Maya and I in? You're in the category of people who shouldn't be asking me. You should be asking each other. She's right. Of course she's right. I need you to put a hold on everything, I say. 2 weeks. Tell the vendors there's a family emergency, medical issue, something that buys us time. I can do that. She makes notes on her iPad. But David, after 2 weeks, decisions need to be made. Final deposits, final counts, final everything. Understood. She walks me to the door. At the threshold, she touches my arm. I hope you find what you're looking for in Paris.
What makes you think I'm looking for something?
Everyone who runs is looking for something. Either the thing they left behind, or the thing they're running toward. She tilts her head. Which one are you?
I don't have an answer.
My flight leaves at 7 p.m. from JFK. I arrive at the airport at 4 p.m. because I'm paranoid about missing it, about some cosmic intervention keeping me here, tethered to decisions I'm not ready to make.
I check in at the Air France counter. The agent Marie, her name tag says, processes my ticket with efficient grace. Business class to Paris. Wonderful choice, Mr. Kowalski. She pronounces it perfectly. No stumbling over the W. Traveling for business or pleasure? Neither, I say. Personal sabbatical. Even better. She hands me my boarding pass. Gate 22. They'll begin boarding in about 2 hours. The lounge is on the upper level if you'd like to wait there. I take the escalator up. The Air France lounge is all cream leather and soft lighting and a certain kind of quiet that only exists in liminal spaces. People in transition. People between lives. I find a seat by the window overlooking the tarmac. Planes taking off, planes landing, constant motion. My phone has been silent all day. Maya hasn't called, hasn't texted. The letter won't be delivered until tomorrow morning, so she doesn't know I'm leaving yet. She probably thinks I'm at work, that I'm going through the motions while we both figure out what comes next.
She doesn't know that next for me is 3,600 miles away. I order a whiskey from the bar, not Macallan, just a standard pour, and I sit with my thoughts. What am I doing? Running away from a relationship that's dying? Or running toward a version of myself I lost somewhere between I love you and I'll pay for that? My father would know. He always knew. He had this way of cutting through complexity with simple truths. Son, he'd say, you can't negotiate respect. Either someone respects you or they don't. And if they don't, no amount of money or patience or forgiveness will change that. He told me that when I was 25, fresh out of business school, trying to decide between two job offers, one paid more, one felt right. Take the one that feels right, he'd said. Money you can make. Respect you have to earn. And you can't earn it from people who've already decided you're not worth it. I took the lower paying job, built my career from there, became a CFP, built a reputation, made the money, eventually. But I forgot the lesson about respect. I let Maya decide I wasn't worth her name. The whiskey burn's going down. Good. I want to feel something sharp. At 5:30 p.m., my phone finally buzzes. Maya, where are you? My heart rate spikes. Does she know? Did Dominique call her? At work. I lie. Late meeting. Can you come home tonight? I'm ready to talk. I stare at the text. The cursor blinks. The plane I'll be boarding in 90 minutes sits outside the window, loading cargo. I can't tonight. Tomorrow? David, we need to do this now. I've been thinking, and another text comes through, I want to fix this. In close day, with Matt as a very bez, he would not dest in the 70. 4 words. Simple. Devastating. I want to fix this. But what does that mean? Does she want to fix the relationship? Or does she want to fix the problem of her wedding getting derailed 40 days out? Does she see me? Or does she see the spreadsheet? Does she understand what the numbers mean? Or does she just want them to go away? I'm leaving town for 2 weeks. I type. You'll get a letter tomorrow explaining everything. Read it. Think about it. We'll talk when I get back. The 3 dots appear immediately. Disappear. Appear. Disappear. Finally, leaving where? For what? Paris. For me. Paris. David, what the fuck? Read the letter. I'll have my phone, but I need space to think. Space to think, or space to run away. That stops me. Because she's not wrong. Maybe both. I admit. The dots again. This time they last for a full minute. I watch the clock, watch the dots, watch my flight information update. Now boarding. Her response, when it comes, is just one word, coward. It lands like a punch. Maybe she's right. Maybe I am a coward. Maybe running to Paris instead of having this conversation face to face is the most cowardly thing I've ever done. But I'm doing it anyway. I silence my phone, gather my bags, walk to gate 22. The gate agent scans my boarding pass. Welcome aboard, Mr. Kowalski. Seat 4A. Turn left when you enter the aircraft. I walk down the jet bridge. Each step feels significant, final. The business class cabin is half empty. My seat is at the window. Cream leather. Too much legroom. Amenity kit. Already waiting with socks and eye masks and lavender spray. I stow my carry-on. Settle into the seat. Fasten my seatbelt. A flight attendant appears. Champagne before takeoff? Please. She hands me a glass. Veuve Clicquot. The bubbles rise like tiny prayers. More passengers board. A businessman in a Brioni suit. A woman in Chanel. People for whom business class is just another Thursday. My phone buzzes one more time. I promised myself I wouldn't look. I look anyway. If you get on that plane, don't bother coming back. I turn off my phone. The cabin door closes with a hydraulic hiss. The captain's voice comes through the speaker. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome aboard Air France Flight 007 to Paris Charles de Gaulle. Flight time today will be approximately 7 hours and 15 minutes. 7 hours and 15 minutes until I'm someone else. Someone in a different time zone, a different headspace, a different life. The plane pushes back from the gate. I watch through the window as JFK falls away. The terminal, the city, the life I'm leaving behind, at least temporarily. The engines spool up. We taxi toward the runway. I take a sip of champagne. It tastes like freedom and fear in equal measure. The plane turns, accelerates. The nose lifts. New York drops away beneath us. And I realize, somewhere over the Atlantic, that I haven't thought about the money in hours. I've only thought about the name, Kowalski, my name, the one my grandfather carried through immigration, the one my father wore with pride, the one I offered to someone who thought it wasn't good enough. The flight attendant returns. Dinner service will begin shortly. In the meantime, can I get you anything? Actually, I say, do you have a pen and paper? She brings me Air France stationery, cream-colored, embossed. I start writing. Not to Maya. Not a letter or explanation or justification. Just a list. A simple list. Things I want. 1. A partner who respects my name. 2. A relationship where contribution isn't measured in dollars. 3. Someone who sees me. Not my wallet. 4. A marriage that feels like partnership, not patronage. 5. To stop apologizing for having standards. 6. To remember what it feels like to be chosen, not settled for. 7. To understand that walking away isn't quitting, it's refusing to accept less than I deserve. I fold the paper, tuck it into my jacket pocket. Outside the window, the sun is setting over the Atlantic, orange and pink and purple, like the sky is on fire. Somewhere below, Maya is reading my text, maybe crying, maybe furious, maybe calling her friends, her lawyers, her bridesmaids, maybe planning how to cancel a wedding, or maybe planning how to save one. But that's not my problem right now. Right now, my problem is figuring out how to say, "Another glass of champagne, please," in French. I press the call button. The flight attendant appears. Oui, monsieur? Encore du champagne, s'il vous plaît, I say, my accent terrible, but my intention clear. She smiles. Bien sûr. The champagne arrives. I raise the glass, to no one in particular. À la santé, I whisper to my reflection in the window. To health, to clarity, to finally knowing what I want, and to having the courage to walk away from what I don't. The plane climbs higher. Paris waits ahead. And whatever comes next, whatever Maya decides, whatever I decide, whatever this all means, at least I'll face it knowing I chose myself first. Finally, the letter arrives at 9:47 a.m. I know this because Maya texts me the exact timestamp, along with a photo of the envelope on our kitchen counter, my kitchen counter, the marble catching morning light like it's mocking me. Received. Reading now. This is fucked up, David. I'm sitting in a cafe in the Marais when the text comes through. It's called Café des Musées, a corner spot I found by walking aimlessly after checking into my hotel at 7 a.m., jet-lagged and disoriented, and possibly making the biggest mistake of my life. The coffee here is perfect. Small. Strong. Bitter in a way that feels honest. I don't respond to Maya's text. What would I say? Sorry for being fucked up? You're welcome for the clarity? Instead, I order a croissant and I watch Paris wake up around me. Business people in scarves, students with backpacks, a woman walking 3 small dogs, each one wearing a different colored sweater. No one here knows me. No one knows I'm supposed to be getting married in 39 days. No one knows I just torched my relationship via courier service and international flight. It's the most anonymous I've felt in years. My phone buzzes again. Maya, you tracked every coffee, every dinner, every grocery run? You made a chart of who bought toilet paper? This is insane. You know that, right? This is actual insanity. I silence my phone and take another sip of coffee. A man at the next table is reading Le Monde. He's maybe 70, wearing a wool jacket and a wedding ring that looks like it's been there for decades. He catches me looking and nods slightly, the universal gesture of café solidarity. I wonder if he's ever made a spreadsheet of his marriage. I wonder if his wife kept her ex-husband's name. I wonder if I'm going to spend the next 2 weeks wondering about strangers' marriages to avoid thinking about my own. The hotel is in Saint-Germain-des-Prés, a boutique place called L'Hôtel, ironically minimalist name for a property that's anything but minimal. My room junior suite, because I apparently can't stop spending money even when I'm having a financial crisis about spending money, has exposed beams, a clawfoot tub, and windows that overlook Rue des Beaux-Arts. It costs €800 per night. I paid for 2 weeks up front, €11,200. The irony is not lost on me. I'm in Paris, alone, spending money I accused Maya of spending frivolously, trying to prove a point about fiscal responsibility. My therapist would have a field day with this, if I had a therapist, which I don't, because Maya said therapy was something people do when they're not self-aware enough to solve their own problems. I unpack slowly, hang my clothes in the armoire, place my father's watch on the nightstand, set up my laptop on the small desk by the window. Then I sit on the bed, a actual bed, firm and perfect and mine alone, and I finally let myself feel it. The fear, the relief, the absolute terror of not knowing what happens next. My phone is buzzing constantly now. I've muted it, but I can see the screen lighting up. Maya's calling, texting, probably cycling through anger, bargaining, and more anger. I should answer. I should at least acknowledge her, but I don't. Instead, I open my laptop and I check my email. 47 unread messages, work stuff mostly. A few from vendors. The caterer needs final headcount. The band wants to confirm the playlist. The photographer needs the shot list. And one from Dominique. David, Maya called me. She's quite upset. I've told all vendors we're on medical hold. 2 weeks, as you requested. But I need to know. Are you okay? I stare at that last question. Are you okay? I type back, I will be. Then I close the laptop, and I do something I haven't done in 3 years. I take a nap in the middle of the day, without setting an alarm, without checking my phone, without worrying about what I'm missing. I sleep for 4 hours. When I wake up, it's dark outside. The street lamps are on. Somewhere below, someone's playing saxophone, real street music, not the polished kind, just raw notes floating up through the November air. My phone shows 23 missed calls, 15 texts, 3 voicemails. I listen to the voicemails on speaker while I brush my teeth. Voicemail 1, 11:32 a.m. Paris time. David, it's me. I read your letter. I read the whole fucking dossier again. We need to talk. Call me back. Her voice is tight. Controlled. The lawyer voice. Voicemail 2, 2:47 p.m. Okay, I get it. You're mad. You wanted to make a point. Point made. But you can't just leave the country before our wedding and expect me to just call me back. Please. Less controlled now. I can hear traffic in the background. She's outside somewhere. Voicemail 3, 6:15 p.m. Fine, don't call. But you should know that Steph thinks you're emotionally abusive. That tracking expenses is financial manipulation. That I should call off the wedding and probably get a restraining order. I defended you. I told her you're not abusive. You're just a long pause. I don't even know what you are anymore. Call me when you remember who you used to be. I spit toothpaste into the sink, rinse my mouth, look at myself in the mirror. Emotionally abusive. Financial manipulation. The words sit in my chest like stones. Is that what this is? Have I become the villain in my own story? I think about the spreadsheet, the meticulous tracking, the receipts I saved, the transactions I logged. From Maya's perspective, from Steph's perspective, from anyone's perspective who hasn't been living in our financial dynamic, it probably does look obsessive, controlling. But here's what they don't see. I didn't start tracking to control Maya. I started tracking to understand what was happening, to see clearly what I felt instinctively, that I was being used. Not maliciously, maybe, not intentionally, but used nonetheless. Maya didn't see a partner when she looked at me. She saw a resource, a solution, a man with money and skills and a willingness to provide. And I let her. I enabled it. I paid for everything and told myself it was love. But love doesn't feel like an audit waiting to happen. Love doesn't require spreadsheets to prove its existence. I text Maya back. Finally, I'm not abusive. I'm not manipulative. I'm just done being invisible. Her response is immediate. You're not invisible. You're in Paris. Exactly. What does that even mean? It means I had to leave the country to get your attention. 3 dots. They pulse for a long time. Then, that's not fair. None of this is fair. That's the point. So what now? You stay in Paris and I cancel the wedding? You do whatever you need to do. I'm not making this decision for you. You already made it. By leaving. She's not wrong. By getting on that plane, by returning the dress, by writing that letter, I already made my choice. I'm just giving her the illusion of agency. Or maybe I'm genuinely giving her a choice. Maybe I'm saying, if you want this marriage, you have to want me. Not my apartment. Not my income. Not my willingness to fund your vision of the perfect life. Just me, David Kowalski, the man whose name isn't good enough. 2 weeks, I text. Take 2 weeks. Think about what you actually want, not what looks good, not what's convenient, what you actually want. I want you to come home. Do you want me? Or do you want the wedding? No response. I wait 5 minutes. 10, 15, nothing. I pocket my phone, and I leave the hotel. Paris at night is a different creature than Paris during the day. The city transforms softer, warmer, more forgiving. I walk without direction. Down Boulevard Saint-Germain, past bookstores and wine bars and galleries showing art I don't understand, but find beautiful anyway. I end up at the Seine. The river is dark and smooth, reflecting city lights like a mirror. Bateaux mouches drift past, full of tourists taking dinner cruises, seeing the city from the water. I lean against the stone wall, and I watch the boats go by. A couple walks past me, wrapped around each other, speaking rapid French, punctuated by laughter. They're young, mid-20s maybe, and completely absorbed in each other. The way they move together, synchronized without trying, makes my chest ache. Maya and I used to move like that. Didn't we? Or did we just pretend we did? I pull out my phone and I scroll back through our texts. Months of them. Years. Looking for evidence of what? Love? Partnership? Mutual respect? What I find instead is a pattern. Maya texts about things she wants, things she needs, things I should buy, book, arrange, handle. Can you grab dinner on your way home? Thinking sushi from Sushi Nakazawa. $400. My car lease is up. Can you look into the new Range Rover? Steph has one, and it's gorgeous. $1,200 month. Contractor called. Bathroom renovation is going to be $15K more than quoted. I told him to proceed. You're okay with that, right? Not a question, a statement. And my response is, sure, I'll handle it. No problem. Whatever you want. Over and over. Sure, I'll handle it. No problem. Whatever you want. When did I become a service provider instead of a partner? When did I love you turn into I'll pay for that? My phone rings. Not Maya this time. Dominique. I answer. Hello? David. Finally. Are you safe? Are you okay? Maya called me in hysterics saying you fled the country. I didn't flee. I took a planned trip. End quote. A planned trip she didn't know about. Fair point. Dominique sighs. She sounds tired. I'm not your therapist or your mother, David, but I am your wedding planner, and I need to know. Is there going to be a wedding? Honestly, I don't know. That's what I told Maya. She didn't like that answer. What does she want to do? She wants you to come home. She wants to postpone, not cancel. She wants... Dominique pauses. She wants the wedding. I'm not sure she's thinking about the marriage. That's what I'm afraid of. Can I give you advice? Not as your planner, as someone who's seen a lot of couples stand at the altar who shouldn't have? Please, Don't marry someone who makes you feel small. I don't care how much you love them. I don't care how much you've invested. Small people make small marriages. And you deserve better than that. The words hit me like a physical thing. Did Maya make me feel small? I don't know. Did she? I think about it. Really think. The name thing. The constant requests. The way she'd roll her eyes when I suggested something that didn't align with her vision. The way she'd say, "You're sweet." But before overruling every opinion I had about our wedding, our home, our life, "You're sweet, but we're doing it my way." You're sweet, but you don't understand design. You're sweet, but your taste is too suburban. You're sweet, but your name sounds too ethnic. She never said that last part out loud, but it was there, in the way she wrinkled her nose, in the way she said, "Chen just flows better." Yeah, I say finally. She made me feel small. End quote. Then don't marry her. It's not that simple. It really is. Everything else, the money, the deposits, the vendors, that's all just noise. The question is simple. Do you want to spend your life with someone who makes you feel small? No. Then you have your answer. She hangs up before I can respond. I stand there by the Seine, phone in hand, watching boats full of happy tourists drift past. My phone buzzes. A text from my mother. She doesn't text often. She's 68 and still suspicious of smartphones, so when she does, it matters. "David, Maya called me. She's very upset. She says, 'You left? What's going on? Call me when you can. Love you.'" Great. Now Maya's calling my mother. I hit dial. Mom answers on the first ring. "David, where are you?" Maya said. "You're in Paris?" "Hi, Mom." "Yes, I'm in Paris." "Why?" Indequirit. I needed space to think. About the wedding? About everything. There's a pause. I can hear the TV in the background. Wheel of Fortune. She never misses it. "Your father used to do that," she says finally. "Do what?" Leave when he needed to think. Not Paris. Just, he'd go fishing. Drive up to Wisconsin. Spend a weekend in some cabin. Come back clearer. I didn't know that. Why did he need to leave? Because sometimes you can't see the truth when you're standing in the middle of it. Sometimes you need distance. Did you hate it when he left? At first. Then I realized he always came back better, more himself. And that was worth a few days of silence. I close my eyes. "Mom, did you ever feel like Dad took you for granted?" "Oh, honey. Every marriage has moments where someone feels taken for granted. But your father, he always made sure I knew I mattered. Not just what I did for him, but who I was. Me. Helen. The woman he chose. Did he ever track your expenses in a spreadsheet?" She laughs. "No, but he did keep the checkbook. And I know he noticed when I went overboard at Marshall Fields. He just never made me feel bad about it. He'd just say, 'Honey, maybe we save up for the next coat instead of charging it.' Maya thinks I'm financially controlling. Are you? I don't think so. I just wanted to see the truth. And what did you see? That I've been funding a life she built around me. Not with me. Around me." Mom is quiet for a moment. "David, I'm going to tell you what I wish I'd told you before you proposed. That girl is beautiful and smart and accomplished, but she's not kind to you. She's not soft with you. And everyone deserves someone who's soft with them." My throat tightens. I thought love was supposed to be hard work. Love is work, but it shouldn't feel like a job you're failing at. We talk for another 20 minutes. She tells me about her week, her book club, her neighbor's new dog, the pie she baked for church. Normal things. Grounding things. Before we hang up, she says, "Your father would be proud of you for knowing when to step back. That takes more courage than staying." Thanks, Mom. And David, Paris is lovely in November. Take some time for yourself. You've earned it. After we hang up, I walk for another hour. Through the Latin Quarter, past the Pantheon, down narrow streets where the buildings lean together like old friends sharing secrets. I find a wine bar called Le Baron Rouge. It's crowded and loud and unpretentious people standing at barrels used as tables, drinking cheap wine from actual glasses, not stemware. I order a glass of red. The bartender doesn't ask what kind, just pours from an unmarked bottle. It tastes like earth and cherries, and absolutely nothing like the $200 bottles Maya insists we buy. It's perfect. I'm on my second glass when an American voice says, "Mind if I join you?" Everywhere else is packed. I look up. A woman, maybe 40, wearing a peacoat and carrying a worn leather bag. She has the look of someone who lives here, not a tourist. "Sure," I say. She orders wine red, no specification, and settles against the barrel across from me. "American?" she asks. "That obvious?" The shoes give it away. Europeans don't wear New Balance unless they're actually running. I look down at my sneakers. She's right. Guilty. "You? Originally. Chicago. Been here 12 years now. What brought you?" She smiles. "A man. Isn't that always the story? Followed him to Paris. Relationship ended. Decided to stay. And I've never been happier. Turns out I didn't need the man. I just needed the excuse to leave." We talk for an hour. Her name is Rebecca. She teaches English at a language school, lives in the 11th arrondissement, has a cat named Sartre because he's judgmental and existential. She doesn't ask why I'm in Paris alone, doesn't pry, just shares space and wine and the easy conversation of strangers who'll never see each other again. When I finally check my phone, it's past midnight. 6 more texts from Maya. I don't read them. I should go. I tell Rebecca. "Good talk," she says. "Hey, if you need restaurant recommendations or anything, this city can be overwhelming alone. I might take you up on that." I'm here most nights. Baron Rouge. Like clockwork. I walk back to my hotel through empty streets. The city is quiet now, just the occasional taxi and the ever-present hum of the Seine. In my room, I finally read Maya's texts. I talked to my therapist. She has a therapist now, apparently. She says you're having a breakdown. She also says I might be codependent on your money, which is insulting, but I'm considering it. I don't want to cancel the wedding, but I don't want to marry someone who hates me either. Do you hate me, David? I sit on the edge of the bed. The street outside is silent. My father's watch ticks on the nightstand. Do I hate her? No, but I don't want to marry her either. Not like this. Not when she thinks therapy is for people who aren't self-aware, unless it's her therapist telling her what she wants to hear. Not when she calls my documentation of our financial imbalance manipulation instead of recognizing it as evidence. Not when she still hasn't said she'll take my name. I text back, "I don't hate you, but I don't think you see me, and I can't marry someone who doesn't see me." Her response comes immediately. "I see you. Do you? What's my favorite movie? Dots, dots, dots. I don't know. It's Local Hero. I've told you 3 times. We've never watched it together because you said it sounded boring. In so's Mr. That's reply. What's my middle name? More dots. Thomas. After my father. You've never used it. What do I want to do when I retire? David, this is ridiculous. What do I want to do when I retire, Maya? No response. Because she doesn't know. She doesn't know I want to teach financial literacy at community colleges. That I want to help people who grew up like I did, working class, immigrant families, understand money so they don't get taken advantage of. She doesn't know because she's never asked. I turn off my phone and I lie in the dark, and I let myself feel the full weight of it. I'm alone in Paris. My wedding is in 39 days. Maybe. My fiancée thinks I'm having a breakdown. And for the first time in 3 years, I feel completely, perfectly clear. Tomorrow, I'll wake up and I'll have coffee at that cafe again. I'll walk through the Marais. Maybe I'll visit a museum. Maybe I'll just sit by the Seine and watch the boats. But tonight, I'll sleep in a bed where no one expects anything from me. Where my name Kowalski, too ethnic, not elegant enough, is just a name on a passport. Where I'm just David, and that's enough. Day 3 in Paris. I discover something revolutionary. I can eat breakfast alone without apologizing for it. The cafe, I've started thinking of it as my cafe, even though I have no claim to it, knows my order now. Un café et un croissant. The waiter, whose name I learn is Laurent, brings it without asking, sets it down with a small nod that feels like acceptance. I sit. I read the International Herald Tribune, even though the news is depressing. I watch people. I exist without justification. It's extraordinary how much energy I've spent for years explaining my existence to Maya. Why I wanted to stay home instead of going to another gallery opening. Why I preferred beer to wine, diners to bistros, silence to constant stimulation. Why I needed time alone, time to think, time to just be without performing the role of attentive fiancé. Here, no one needs explanations. I'm just the American in the corner who tips too much and murders the French language with enthusiasm. My phone has become a museum of Maya's evolution through the stages of grief. Day 1. Anger. How dare you? This is abandonment, my lawyer says. Day 2. Bargaining. Come home and we'll talk. I'll compromise. We can postpone. Day 3. Depression. I can't eat. I can't sleep. How could you do this to me? Day 4. More anger. Steph is right about you. You're a coward. I should have married Chen. That last one landed. Should have married Chen. Not should have stayed with Chen. Should have married him. So it was always about the marriage, not the man. Chen gave her a ring and a name, and apparently that was enough. I gave her a ring and a life, and apparently that wasn't. I don't respond to most of the texts, just the ones that require actual information. The caterer needs final count by Friday. Tell them you'll confirm when I'm back. That's in 10 days. They need it now. Then give them your best guess. My best guess? It's our wedding. Quote, this isn't, is it? No response to that one. On day 4, I visit the Musée d'Orsay. Not because I'm particularly into Impressionism, but because my hotel concierge, a woman named Sylvie who has impeccable posture and the air of someone who's seen everything twice, suggested it. You look like a man who needs to see beautiful things made by people who suffered, she said. The Impressionists were rejected for years before anyone appreciated them. Very French, very resilient. The museum is housed in an old train station, which feels metaphorical. Spaces can be transformed. Buildings can have second lives. I spend 3 hours wandering. Monet's water lilies, Renoir's dancers, Degas's ballerinas, Van Gogh's self-portraits, the ones where you can see the madness and the genius fighting for space in his eyes. I stop in front of a painting by Gustave Caillebotte, Paris Street, rainy day. It shows people walking through Paris in the rain, holding umbrellas, going about their lives. The perspective is strange, slightly elevated, like you're watching from a window. There's a couple in the foreground, well-dressed, walking together but not touching. The man looks straight ahead. The woman glances away. They're together but separate. I stand there for 20 minutes, looking at that painting, and I understand something I've been avoiding. Maya and I have been that couple for a long time, together but separate. Sharing space, but not connection. I was just too busy paying for things to notice. My phone buzzes. Not Maya, my mother. Thinking about you. How's Paris? Have you eaten anything besides bread and cheese? Mostly bread and cheese, actually. It's a solid diet. Your father would approve. He believed in simple pleasures. I remember. Have you talked to Maya? She's talked to me. I've mostly listened. And what's she saying? That I'm ruining everything. Are you? Maybe. Or maybe I'm finally building something. Hard to tell. Trust yourself, David. You have good instincts. You just need to listen to them. I pocket my phone and I leave the museum. Outside, it started to rain light. Parisian rain that's more mist than water. People pop open umbrellas. I don't have one. I let myself get wet. It feels like permission.
Day 5. I meet Rebecca at Baron Rouge again. It's becoming a routine. I'm starting to understand why people have regular spots.
There's comfort in familiar spaces, familiar faces, the ritual of being known.
You're still here, she says, sliding into the space across from me. I thought you'd be a one-night wonder. Turns out,
I like cheap wine and existential conversations. The best kind. She orders her usual red. So, day 5. Have you figured out what you're running from yet?
who says I'm running?
Everyone in Paris is running from something. Or towards something. Sometimes both. That's why we're here instead of Cleveland.
I'm from Chicago originally. Same difference. Midwest, practical, friendly, not exactly Paris energy. I laugh.
What are you running from?
Oh, I ran years ago. Now I'm just living. But you've got that fresh wound look, like you just ripped off a Band-Aid.
Is it that obvious? You check your phone every 3 minutes and then put it away looking pained. Either you're getting dumped or you're doing the dumping.
What if it's mutual?
It's never mutual. Someone always leaves first. The other person just agrees after the fact.
She's not wrong.
We drink and talk. She tells me about her ex, the one she followed to Paris, how he was brilliant and charming and completely unable to commit to anything, including her.
How she spent 3 years trying to be enough, trying to be interesting, trying to be whatever he needed.
And then one day, she says, I realized I was so busy being what he needed that I forgot who I was. So I left. Well, he left first, but I stayed, and that was my way of leaving. Do you regret it?
Following him? Every day. Staying after? Never. Paris gave me my life back.
I'm supposed to get married in 35 days, I hear myself say. Maybe. Probably not. I don't know. Rebecca doesn't look surprised. And you're here instead.
I'm here instead.
Why? I think about how to answer that. The spreadsheet, the name, the dress, the slow accumulation of small dismissals that added up to one big truth.
Because she wanted to keep her ex-husband's name, I say finally.
And I realized that if she wanted to keep his name more than she wanted to take mine, maybe she wasn't actually choosing me. Rebecca nods slowly.
That's a good reason.
Is it? Or is it petty? Can't it be both? Sometimes the best reasons are petty. They're specific. They're honest. It's the big, vague reasons that are usually bullshit.
We stay until closing. When I walk back to my hotel, I feel lighter, like I've been given permission to trust my own judgment.
My phone has 7 new texts from Maya. I don't read them until I'm back in my room, door locked, committed to whatever emotional assault awaits. I talked to Dominique.
She says you're paying for the hold. Thank you.
I also talked to my therapist again. She asked me why I want to marry you. I told her all the right things. You're stable. You're kind. You're successful. She asked if I loved you. I said, of course. She asked how I show it. There's a gap in the timestamps, 20 minutes between that text and the next.
I couldn't answer, David. I couldn't think of how I show you I love you. And then I realized,
I don't think I do. My heart stops. Then starts again. Harder. I think I love the life we have. The apartment. The plans. The idea of us.
But you? I don't know if I've ever really seen you.
And that's really fucked up. I sit on the bed, read the texts again, then again. This is it. This is the moment where Maya either gets it or doesn't. I text back, what do you want to do? The response comes immediately. I don't know. Honest answer. Honest answer. I want to cancel the wedding. My breath catches. But I don't want to lose you.
Those might be the same thing.
I know. We text for another hour. The most honest conversation we've had in months, maybe years. She admits she's been coasting. That she liked having someone who took care of things. That she never really thought about what I needed, because I never seemed to need anything. You were just solid, she writes. Like a wall. I leaned on you. I never thought walls might need support too. Walls crack when you lean too hard, I respond. Is that what happened? Did I crack you? You didn't crack me. You just made me see the cracks that were already there. By the time we stop texting, it's 2 a.m. in Paris, 8 p.m. in New York. We haven't solved anything, haven't decided anything, but we've been honest. And honestly, I think it's over. I think we both know it's over. We're just doing the slow work of admitting it. Day 6, I do something I haven't done in years. I buy myself something frivolous. There's a bookstore in the Latin Quarter called Shakespeare and Company. It's famous. Apparently Rebecca mentioned it. Sylvie the concierge mentioned it. Even Laurent the waiter mentioned it when I told him I needed something to do besides drink coffee and contemplate my failures. The store is chaos. Books stacked everywhere. Narrow aisles. A cat sleeping on a pile of Hemingway. People reading in corners, sprawled on benches, treating the place like a library. I find a small leather journal in the back. Handmade. Expensive. The kind of thing Maya would call performative stationery. I buy it anyway. Then I sit in the upstairs reading room. There's an actual reading room with typewriters and sleeping bags and a sign that says, "Be not inhospitable to strangers lest they be angels in disguise." And I start writing. Not to Maya. Not a letter or explanation. Just thoughts. Stream of consciousness. The truth I've been avoiding. I don't think I've been happy in 2 years. I think I convinced myself that providing was the same as loving. I think Maya convinced herself that accepting was the same as partnering. We built a beautiful life together, but we didn't build a partnership. And I don't know if you can have a marriage without a partnership. I don't know if you can love someone who doesn't see you. I don't know if I can keep being invisible just to keep the peace. My father taught me that men provide, that taking care of your family is what makes you a man. But he also taught me that respect goes both ways. That love means seeing someone, really seeing them. Maya never saw me. She saw my utility, my resources, my willingness to say yes. But me, David, the man who likes old movies and dive bars and teaching kids about compound interest, she never saw that person because I never showed her. I was too busy being useful. I write for 2 hours, fill 30 pages. When I'm done, my hand aches and my chest feels lighter. A young woman sitting nearby, college age, American accent earlier when she was talking to a friend, leans over. "Whatever you're working through, it looks intense. Divorce," I say. Then, pre-divorce. Divorce prevention. Maybe. Ah, she nods wisely, like she's been through this before, which is unlikely, given she can't be older than 22. My mom says the best way to know if you should marry someone is to imagine your worst day. Like, really worst. And then imagine who you want in the room with you. That's good advice. She got it from her therapist after her second divorce. I laugh. Actually laugh. How many divorces has she had? 3. But she says the 3rd time's the charm. She's been married to Dennis for 8 years now, and they seem happy. What made Dennis different? She says he sees her, like really sees her, even the parts she doesn't like about herself. And he stays anyway. Sees her. There's that word again. The thing I've been circling for 6 days. The thing that's been missing. I text Maya. Question, do you see me? She responds an hour later. What kind of question is that? A simple one. Do you see me? Not what I provide. Not what I do. Me. David, do you see me? I'm looking at your photo right now. So, yes, that's not what I mean. Then I don't understand the question. And that right there, that's the answer. She doesn't understand the question because she's never thought about it. I'm a fixture in her life, a supporting character, the guy who makes things happen, but I'm not a person she sees. I text back, I think we should cancel the wedding. This time, the response takes 20 minutes. Okay, just that. Okay. Not, let's talk about this. Not, are you sure? Not, please don't. Just, okay. Like she's been waiting for permission to agree. I'll call Dominique, she adds. Start the cancellation process. I'll handle the financial side. Of course you will. That stings. But it's also true. Of course I will, because that's what I do. I handle things. I handle everything. And I'm tired of handling everything alone. That night, I meet Rebecca at Baron Rouge again. I must look different because she takes one look at me and says, "You did it." 2. Inbratted. Did what? Whatever you came here to do. You have the look of someone who just made a decision. I canceled my wedding. Congratulations. That's an odd response. Is it? You've been miserable since I met you. Now you look not happy. Exactly. But lighter. Like you put down something heavy. She's right. I do feel lighter. I also feel terrified and sad and relieved and completely unmoored. But lighter. Definitely lighter. So what now? Rebecca asks. You stay in Paris and become a romantic expat? Learn to paint? Have affairs with French intellectuals? I have 8 more days on my hotel reservation. After that, I go home. And then what? I have no idea. Good, she says. Not knowing is the best part. That's when anything's possible. We drink to that. To not knowing. To possibility. To the terrifying freedom of starting over. My phone buzzes. Dominique is sending the cancellation paperwork. She says we'll lose about $95,000 total. I know. I'll handle it. You always do. Maya, I need to ask you something. Okay. Did you ever love me? Really love me? The dots pulse for a long time. I watch them, my heart suspended. I loved who I thought you were, who I needed you to be. That's not the same thing. I know. I'm sorry. Me too. Me too. And, just like that, it's over. 3 years. 1 engagement. Hundreds of thousands of dollars. Countless hours of renovation and planning, and building a life together. Over. Ended via text message in a wine bar in Paris. I should feel worse. I should be devastated. Instead, I feel like I've been holding my breath for 3 years and I can finally exhale. You okay? Rebecca asks. I will be, I say, and I mean it. The last 4 days in Paris, I do all the tourist things I was supposed to do. I climb the Eiffel Tower, stand at the top while wind whips around me and the city spreads out below like a promise. All those buildings, all those lives, all those people making choices and mistakes and trying to figure out what comes next. I visit Versailles, walk through halls of mirrors where every reflection shows a slightly different version of myself. I try to figure out which one is real. I eat at expensive restaurants alone, order whatever I want without considering cost or anyone's dietary restrictions. I have steak, tartare, and escargot and creme brulee for breakfast, because who's going to stop me? I'm free. It's exhilarating and lonely, and exactly what I need. On day 9, I visit Père Lachaise Cemetery. It sounds morbid, but Rebecca insisted. It's where all the famous dead people are, she said. Oscar Wilde, Jim Morrison, Edith Piaf. You walk around and you realize that everyone, no matter how famous, how talented, how loved, ends up in the same place, 6 feet under, with a story that's already been told. That's cheerful. No, it's freeing. It means you can write whatever story you want, because it all ends the same anyway. The cemetery is beautiful in a gothic, melancholy way. Crumbling mausoleums, moss-covered stones, cats everywhere, like they're guarding the dead. I find Jim Morrison's grave. It's covered in graffiti and lipstick kisses and empty wine bottles. People still leaving offerings to a man who's been dead for 50 years. What do you have to do, I wonder, to be remembered like that? What do you have to be? I think about my father. He's not buried in Paris. He's scattered in Lake Michigan, his ashes mixing with water and fish and the whole beautiful mess of nature. No grave to visit, no marker, just memory. But I remember him every day. His voice, his lessons, his quiet dignity. You can't negotiate respect, son. Take care of your family, but don't lose yourself doing it. Be the kind of man people remember for who he was, not what he bought them. I'm trying, Dad, I think. I'm really trying. My phone rings. Not Maya. My mother.
David, are you still in Paris?
2 more days. Then I fly home. How are you? Honestly? Better than I've been in years. That's what I was afraid of. She pauses. Maya called me. She told me you canceled the wedding. I did. She's devastated. I know. Are you? Am I devastated? I search myself for devastation. Find sadness, yes. Relief, absolutely. Grief for what could have been if we'd been different people. But devastation? No. I'm sad, I tell my mother. But I'm not devastated. Is that terrible? No, honey. That's clarity. She said I abandoned her. That I'm cruel. You removed your resources. That's not the same as abandoning a person. She's very angry. She's allowed to be angry. You're allowed to set boundaries. Both things can be true. We talk for another hour. She tells me she always had reservations about Maya, that she seemed more interested in the wedding than the marriage, that she never asked about me, my work, my hobbies, my life, only about what we were doing together. Why didn't you say something, I ask? Would you have listened? Probably not. Exactly. Some lessons you have to learn yourself. You have to live through them. That's how you know they're real. Before we hang up, she says, your father would be proud of you for knowing your worth, for walking away when staying would have been easier. I hope so. I know so. Come home safe, David. And when you get back, you're coming to dinner. Real dinner. Not the fancy stuff Maya liked. Just pot roast and potatoes and telling your mother everything. I promise I will. My last night in Paris, I go to Baron Rouge one final time. Rebecca is there, as always, holding court at her usual barrel. Last night, she announces when she sees me, we have to do this right, which means too much wine and probably regrettable confessions. I'm game. We drink, we talk. I tell her the whole story, the spreadsheet, the name, the dress, the flight, the texts, the cancellation. She listens without judgment, without advice, just listens. When I'm done, she says, so, you spent $95,000 to learn what you're worth. $95,000 plus the cost of this trip. Call it $110,000. Worth it? I think about that. $110,000 is a lot of money. It's a down payment on a house, a year of living expenses, my father's entire pension for 4 years. But it bought me something I didn't have before. Certainty. Certainty that I deserve to be seen. That I deserve a partner, not a dependent. That my name, Kowalski, ethnic and unglamorous, is good enough. Yeah, I say, worth it. Rebecca raises her glass. Too expensive lessons, too expensive lessons. We drink until they kick us out. On the walk back to my hotel, Paris feels different. Familiar now. Like a place I could belong if I chose to. You should come back, Rebecca says, when you're ready. Not running from something. Just visiting. As yourself. Maybe I will. Look me up when you do. I'll still be here. Drinking cheap wine and judging people's life choices. It's a good life. It is. She hugs me quick, friendly, the hug of someone who gets it. Safe travels, David Kowalski. Go home and build something worth keeping. The flight home is strange. I'm in economy this time. I downgraded, used the difference to pay toward the wedding cancellation fees squished between a businessman who won't stop typing and a student who sleeps the entire way. But I don't mind. I'm going home different than I left. I'm going home as someone who knows what he wants, what he won't accept, what he's worth. The apartment, my apartment, feels empty when I walk in. Maya's things are gone. Not all of them. She left furniture, art, the expensive kitchen gadgets she insisted we needed. But her clothes are gone. Her toiletries, her presents. There's a note on the kitchen counter. David, I took what was mine, left what was ours. You can have it, or sell it, or burn it. I don't care. I'm staying with Steph indefinitely. My lawyer will be in touch about dividing assets. For what it's worth, I'm sorry. Not for everything, but for not seeing you. You deserved better than that. M. I read it twice. Then I fold it carefully and put it in my father's watchbox. Evidence, memory, proof that this happened. Then I walk through the apartment. Really look at it. The herringbone floors I installed. The custom cabinets I built. The expensive furniture Maya chose. The art she bought. It's beautiful. It's empty. It's mine. I pour myself a whiskey Macallan 18 because I paid for it, and I stand at the window overlooking the city. Somewhere out there, Maya is telling her friends I'm a monster, that I manipulated her, that I kept spreadsheets like a psychopath. Let her. I know the truth. I know that loving someone doesn't mean disappearing for them. I know that partnership means both people show up. I know that my name is good enough. My phone buzzes. A text from an unknown number. David Kowalski? This is Jennifer Chen, Maya's attorney. We should talk about asset division. Are you represented? I stare at the text. Jennifer Chen, Maya's married name. The one she kept, the one that sounded better. I almost laugh. Instead, I text back. I'll have my attorney contact you. David Kowalski, CFP. I know how this works. Then, I call my lawyer. The one I use for my clients' divorces. The one who's seen every trick, every manipulation, every attempt to hide assets or claim victimhood. David, it's late. Everything okay? I need representation. Dissolution of a domestic partnership. High assets. Complicated division. You're not married, right? No, but we lived together 2 years. Significant commingling of resources. New York recognizes some rights in those situations. How complicated are we talking? I have documentation, complete financial records, every transaction, every contribution, every dollar. There's a pause. Of course you do. You're a forensic accountant. Did you keep these for yourself or started as a gut feeling, became evidence? Smart. Email me everything. We'll schedule a meeting for next week. In the meantime, don't communicate with her attorney directly. Everything goes through me. Understood. We hang up. I finish my whiskey. And then I do something I haven't done in 3 years. I open my laptop and I update my budget. Not our budget. My budget. Just me. David Kowalski. Single. 42. Starting over. The numbers are different now. Lower income requirements. No joint expenses. No wedding to fund. No renovations to finance. Just me and my salary and my choices. It's the most beautiful spreadsheet I've ever made. I'm halfway through when my phone rings again. Not Maya, not her lawyer, Dominique. David, you're home. Just got in. How was Paris? Clarifying. Good. Listen, I have something for you. Can I drop by tomorrow? It won't take long. Sure. Is everything okay? Everything's fine. I just have a refund check, and I prefer to deliver good news in person. The next day, Dominique shows up at my door, looking impossibly chic in all black, carrying a leather portfolio. Coffee? I offer. God, yes. Your Italian machine? The only good thing Maya left me. She laughs. That, and your dignity, darling. We sit in my living room, the one with the furniture Maya chose but I paid for, and Dominique pulls out paperwork. So, the cancellation. I went to bat for you with every vendor. Called in favors. Reminded them that emergencies happen. Guilted them about compassion. And you're losing $67,000 instead of $95,000? I got you $28,000 back. How did you manage that? The band felt bad. Said they'd already been paid for another gig that night anyway, they can double book now. The florist agreed to resell the peonies to another wedding. The photographer gave you 50% back as a professional courtesy, and I waived my final payment. Dominique, you don't have to. I do. Because I watched you try to build something with someone who was building something else, and that's not fair. So consider it my investment in your future wedding, the real one. When you find someone who actually sees you, I don't know what to say. So I just say, Thank you. She hands me the check. $28,000. It won't cover the losses, but it's something.
One more thing, she says, pulling out another envelope. This is from me personally, not business. Just advice from someone who's planned 347 weddings and attended exactly 2 of her own.
I open it. It's a card. Inside, in her precise handwriting, David, marriage is not a wedding. The wedding is 4 hours. The marriage is 40 years. Never confuse someone's love of weddings with their capacity for marriage. Never confuse someone's appreciation of your resources with their appreciation of you. You did the right thing. It hurt. It cost you. But you did it. And when you meet the right person, and you will, they won't make you track anything, because they'll already be keeping track of you. D. I fold the card carefully, put it in the watch box with Maya's note. Evidence of different truths. After Dominique leaves, I spend the rest of the day doing something I haven't done in years. Nothing. I don't work, don't plan, don't optimize, or schedule, or track. I just exist. I order pizza from the place Maya hated because it was too greasy. I watch Local Hero, my favorite movie, the one Maya said was boring. I fall asleep on the couch at 8 p.m. like an old man, and I don't apologize to anyone. And when I wake up the next morning, sun streaming through windows I paid for, in an apartment that's mine again, I feel something I haven't felt in 3 years. Peace.
3 weeks after Paris, I'm sitting in my attorney's office with a stack of documents that would make the IRS weep with joy.
You really documented everything, Jennifer Marks says. She's 50-ish, sharp-featured, with reading glasses that hang on a chain like a weapon she might deploy at any moment. Every receipt, every bank transfer, every Venmo payment for shared groceries. I'm thorough. You're a forensic accountant's wet dream. She flips through another page. Do you have the actual receipts for the bathroom renovation? Because this says $47,000, and I want to see. I pull out a binder. Tab 7. Every invoice, every payment, every change order, when Maya decided the original tile wasn't organic enough. Jennifer stares at the binder, then at me. Have you ever considered that you might have a problem with organization? With being so good at this that it's slightly terrifying. Here's Zaplays. I shrug. I do this for a living. Documenting financial patterns, finding hidden assets, building cases. Except this time, you built a case against your own relationship. She's not wrong. We spend 2 hours going through everything. The apartment purchased by me before Maya, titled solely in my name. The renovations, $127,000 in improvements, all funded by me, all documented. The furniture, $64,000 in purchases over 2 years. My credit cards, my decisions, overruled by Maya's aesthetic vision. Here's the thing, Jennifer says, removing her glasses. New York doesn't recognize common law marriage. You weren't married. You lived together. From a legal standpoint, she has very limited claim to your property. What about unjust enrichment? I've seen cases where a partner claims they were promised marriage and made financial decisions based on that promise. Yes, but you have documented proof that you paid for everything voluntarily. No coercion, no fraud. Just generosity. Stupid generosity. Not stupid, human. You love someone, you provided for them. That's not a crime. What is it then? This is a 10. Jennifer puts her glasses back on, looks at me with something that might be pity. It's expensive education, $247,000 in tuition to learn that love without reciprocity is just charity. The number sits between us, $247,000. 2 years of my life, priced out in marble countertops and organic tile and peonies from Oregon. Her attorney is claiming emotional distress, Jennifer continues, says you blindsided her, humiliated her, that the spreadsheet was psychological abuse. As one, the spreadsheet was evidence. Evidence she didn't ask for. Evidence that made her look bad. Evidence that David, can I be frank, please? Evidence that proved she was using you. And nobody likes being proven wrong with data. So what's her play? She wants $50,000 to walk away quietly. Emotional damages. Lost wedding deposits she claims you promised to cover. Compensation for 2 years of supporting your career by being your partner. I laugh. Actually, laugh. Supporting my career? She has a law degree. She makes $180,000 a year. How exactly did she support my career? By being there. By being your partner. By,
Jennifer checks the email from Maya's attorney.
and I quote, providing emotional labor, social capital, and domestic partnership that allowed Mr. Kowalski to focus on his professional advancement. Emotional labor. Domestic partnership. She redecorated my apartment and went to company dinners twice. That's not emotional labor. That's interior design and free food. Jennifer smiles. It's not a kind smile. It's the smile of someone who's about to enjoy their job. Then let's respond with our own accounting. You documented everything. Let's show them exactly what her emotional labor cost you. We draft a response that's essentially a masterclass in financial brutality. Every dollar I spent, every renovation I funded, every dinner, every trip, every spontaneous purchase that Maya wanted and I provided. We itemize it. We categorize it. We present it with the cold precision of an autopsy report. Total investment, $247,000. Maya's contribution, $38,000. Net difference, $209,000. Then we add a section Jennifer calls Opportunity Cost Analysis. That's of remorned, is not of the crasted and writes, at by the ald. You're a financial consultant, she explains. If you'd invested that $209,000 difference in a standard index fund, instead of spending it on Maya's lifestyle, what would it be worth now? We run the numbers. Assuming 8% annual return over 2 years, compounded monthly, $245,834. I would have gained $36,834 by investing that money instead of spending it on someone who didn't even want my name. We include this, Jennifer says. We show that not only did you pay for everything, but you lost the opportunity to build wealth because you were funding her life. That feels aggressive. She's claiming you abused her with a spreadsheet. I think we can be a little aggressive. The response goes out that afternoon.
I don't see it. Jennifer handles the communication, but she tells me it's comprehensive.
2 hours later, my phone explodes. Are you fucking kidding me with this? You calculated opportunity cost? You're treating our relationship like a failed investment? This is exactly why I kept Chen's name. Because you're a cold calculating asshole who thinks everything is a transaction. I stare at the texts. Read them twice. 3 times. Then I text back. You demanded $50,000 for emotional damages. I showed you why that's unreasonable. This is business now. You made it business. I made it business? You made a spreadsheet of our love. No. I made a spreadsheet of our finances. There's a difference. There shouldn't be, but there is. And that's the problem. She doesn't respond for 6 hours. When she does, it's just, I hate you. End quote. I don't respond to that. What would be the point? Instead, I pour myself a whiskey, and I sit at my window and I think about what she said. You're treating our relationship like a failed investment. Am I? Or am I just treating it like what it was? An unequal partnership where one person gave everything and the other took freely. My phone rings. Not Maya. My mother. David, Maya called me. She's very upset. I know. She says you're being cruel, that you're trying to humiliate her. I'm defending myself. With spreadsheets. With evidence, Mom. She hired a lawyer. Demanded money. This isn't personal anymore. It's legal. Everything between 2 people who loved each other is personal. Did we love each other? I'm starting to wonder. There's a long pause. David, answer honestly. Do you feel good about this? About the way you're handling this? Do I feel good? I feel justified. I feel vindicated. I feel like I'm finally standing up for myself after 2 years of being a doormat with a checkbook. But good? I feel right, I say finally. Not good, but right. Those aren't the same thing. I know. Your father used to say, being right is cold comfort when you're alone. Dad also said not to let people take advantage of you. He said that too. But he also said, David, he also said that winning isn't the same as being happy. After we hang up, I sit with that. Winning isn't the same as being happy. I'm winning. My attorney is confident. My documentation is airtight. Maya's claim for $50,000 is going to get laughed out of any courtroom. But am I happy? I look around the apartment. My apartment, empty of Maya's presence but full of her choices. The couch she picked, the art she bought with my money, the marble counters that cost more than a car. I'm alone in a museum of someone else's taste, and I'm calling it winning. The next morning, I do something impulsive. I call a real estate agent. David Kowalski, we met at a charity event last year. You said if I ever wanted to sell, you'd be interested in the listing. She remembers. Of course she remembers. Tribeca, 2-bedroom, renovated, northern exposure. It's probably worth $2.8 million now. I'd like to list it, I say. Wonderful. When are you thinking? Immediately. Oh, is everything okay? Everything's fine. I just want a fresh start. She comes by that afternoon, walks through with her appraiser's eye, taking notes, photographing everything. The renovations are stunning, she says, running her hand over the herringbone floors. Custom cabinets, Italian appliances, marble throughout. You'll get top dollar. How much? I'd list at $2.95 million. See what happens. This market, we might get asking or higher. I bought the apartment for $1.7 million 4 years ago. Put $127,000 into renovations. If it sells for $2.95 million, minus fees and taxes, I'll walk away with roughly $900,000 in profit. Do it, I say. Don't you want to think about it? Talk to your... She stops, remembers there's no fiancé anymore. Talk to your financial advisor? I am a financial advisor, and I don't need to think about it. List it. The paperwork takes an hour. She'll have professional photos done tomorrow. Listing goes live Friday. She's confident we'll have offers within a week. After she leaves, I walk through the apartment one more time. The floors I installed on my knees, one board at a time. The cabinets I measured and built and sanded until my hands bled. The kitchen where Maya and I argued about tile and fought about money and slowly destroyed something that might have been love. It's beautiful. It's expensive. It's not mine anymore. Not really. It stopped being mine the moment Maya walked out. Now it's just a collection of expensive things that remind me of an expensive mistake. I pull out my phone and I text the one person who might understand. Rebecca? It's David, from Paris. Her response comes 20 minutes later. David, how's post-breakup life? Complicated. I'm selling my apartment, starting over. Good for you. Burn it all down. Metaphorically. Metaphorically. Mostly. You okay? I'm winning. My attorney says I'll pay nothing. Walk away clean. But winning feels lonely. That's because it is. Winning means someone else lost, and even when they deserve to lose, it still feels empty. What do? You finish the fight. You protect yourself, and then you forgive yourself for needing to fight in the first place. I read that text 3 times. For what? For documenting the truth? For standing up for myself? For refusing to be used? Or for something else? For letting it get this far? For ignoring red flags because love felt easier than loneliness? For confusing providing with partnering? For letting Maya keep Chen's name because I was afraid that insisting on mine would make me seem petty? You can't negotiate respect. Dad's voice. Always there when I need it. I couldn't negotiate Maya's respect. I tried. I paid for it. I built things and funded dreams and said yes until yes became my only word. But respect doesn't work like that. You either have it or you don't. And Maya never respected me. Not my name. Not my contributions. Not my worth. She respected my wallet. And now she wants $50,000 from it as a parting gift. Friday afternoon, Jennifer calls. They countered. down to $30,000. They're framing it as equitable distribution of joint investments.
We didn't have joint investments. I have investments. She has debt.
I know. But they're claiming she gave up career opportunities to support your relationship. That she could have been making partner at her firm but prioritized your life together.
That's bullshit. She made associate 2 years ago. She's on track. This has nothing to do with me. Quote,
I agree, but they're throwing everything at the wall to see what sticks. What do you recommend? Jennifer pauses. Honestly, I recommend we go to zero. We have the documentation. We have the evidence. We can prove she contributed $38,000 to a life that cost $247,000. She has no legal standing for damages. But it's going to get ugly. She'll fight. It'll be months of depositions and document production and legal fees. You'll win, but it'll cost you. Maybe not money, but time and energy and peace of mind. What's the alternative? You could offer $10,000, not as damages, as a goodwill settlement. Close this cleanly. Move on with your life. $10,000. The price of peace. I think about my father. What would he do? He'd fight. He'd fight. Because it's the principle. Because you don't reward people for using you. Because respect matters more than convenience.
But he'd also know when to walk away.
When winning costs more than it's worth. Counter at $5,000, I say. Final offer. Take it or we go to court and she gets nothing. That's aggressive. She called me an abuser, claimed I manipulated her, demanded $50,000 for the privilege of ending a relationship where I paid for everything. I think $5,000 is generous. Jennifer laughs. Actually laughs. I like you, David. Most of my clients would pay anything to avoid confrontation. You're paying the minimum to make a point. Is that bad? No. It's refreshing. I'll send the offer. The response comes back in 2 hours. Accepted. $5,000. Maya gets $5,000 to walk away from a life I funded with $247,000. It's the best return on investment I've ever seen. That night, I sit in my apartment, soon-to-be former apartment, and I draft an email I never send. Maya, you're getting $5,000. My attorney says I don't owe you anything, but I'm giving it to you anyway, not because you deserve it. Because I deserve to close this chapter without becoming someone I don't recognize. I could have fought for months, could have buried you in documentation, could have proven in court that you used me, that you took advantage of my generosity, that you never saw me as a partner. But winning that fight wouldn't give me what I actually want. What I want is to remember that I'm not cruel, that I'm not vengeful, that I'm someone who loves honestly and leaves gracefully. You'll tell people I'm the villain, that I tracked expenses like a psychopath, that I abandoned you before the wedding, that I'm cold and calculating and emotionally unavailable. Tell them I don't care. Because the people who matter, the ones who actually see me, they'll know the truth. They'll know I spent 2 years trying to build something with someone who was building something else. They'll know I documented what was happening because I needed to see it clearly. They'll know I left because staying would have destroyed me. You wanted Chen's name because it sounded better, more elegant, more professional. I hope it serves you well. I hope it opens doors and builds careers and gives you everything you wanted. But I also hope you learn something I had to learn. A name only sounds as good as the person wearing it. And you wore Chen's name better than you would have worn mine because you never wanted to be a Kowalski. You wanted to be provided for by one. Good luck, Maya. I mean that. Good luck finding someone who'll fund your dreams without expecting to be seen. Good luck finding someone whose name sounds good enough. Good luck building a life that's as beautiful as the one you built with my money. I hope it makes you happy. I really do. Because that's the difference between us. I wanted you to be happy, even when it cost me. You wanted me to be useful, even when it destroyed me. One of us loved. One of us took. I hope you figure out which one you were. David Kowalski. I read it 3 times. Then I delete it. Because sending it would be proving her point. That I'm cruel. That I'm calculating. That everything with me is a transaction. Instead, I open a new email to my attorney. Jennifer, accept the settlement. Transfer $5,000 to Maya's account. Close the file. I'm done. David. Then I open my banking app. I look at my accounts. The money I saved by not having a wedding. The equity I'll gain from selling the apartment. The future I'm buying back. One canceled deposit at a time. I transfer $100,000 to a new savings account. I label it Second Chances. Because that's what this is. A second chance to build a life that's mine. A second chance to find someone who wants my name, not my wallet. A second chance to be David Kowalski, not David the dependable ATM. My phone buzzes. I got the settlement offer. $5,000. Yes. That's it? That's all I'm worth to you? I stare at that text. The audacity of it. The absolute nerve. I type and delete 3 responses. Finally settle on, you're worth exactly what you contributed. The math doesn't lie. Fuck your math. Fuck your spreadsheets. Fuck you, David. Accepted. Sign the papers. We're done. And we are. 3 years. 1 engagement. $247,000 in expenses. $5,000 in settlement. Done. I pour myself the last of the Macallan, the bottle Maya bought me for Christmas, and I raise it to the window. To expensive lessons. I say to my reflection, to winning fights I didn't want. To being right, even when it feels empty. I drink. It burns. And then I call my real estate agent. The listing goes live tomorrow, right? First thing in the morning. Good. I want to be out in 30 days. Where will you go? I don't know. And, for the first time in 3 years, that doesn't scare me. Somewhere new, I say. Somewhere that's mine. Fresh start, the freshest. After we hang up, I walk through the apartment one last time. Not saying goodbye, just witnessing. This is where I learned what love looks like when it's one-sided. This is where I built beautiful things for someone who never said thank you. This is where I lost myself, trying to be enough for someone who would never think I was. But this is also where I found my way back, where I learned to document, to trust data over feelings, to know my worth in dollars and cents. Where I learned that walking away isn't quitting. It's refusing to audition for a role I'll never get. I turn off the lights, lock the door, walk out of the building without looking back. Tomorrow, the listing goes live. Tomorrow, this chapter closes. Tomorrow, I start building something new, something that's mine, something that doesn't require a spreadsheet to prove its value, something that looks exactly like freedom. The apartment listing goes live at 9 a.m. on a Tuesday. By noon, I have 6 showing requests. By 5 p.m., there are 3 offers. By Thursday, we're in a bidding war between a tech executive, a divorce attorney, the irony is not lost on me, and a young couple who apparently just sold their startup for an obscene amount of money. They're offering $3.1 million, my agent says, practically vibrating with excitement. Cash, no contingencies, 30-day close. I'm sitting in my office, supposed to be working on a client's asset protection strategy, but instead, I'm watching my former life get auctioned off to the highest bidder, $3.1 million. I bought it for $1.7 million, put in $127,000. Maya redecorated with another $64,000 of my money. Total investment, $1,891,000. Selling for $3,100,000. Net profit after fees, roughly $1,050,000. A 55% return in 4 years. Not bad for a museum of mistakes. Take it, I tell my agent. Cash is king. You don't want a counter? We might get $3.2 million if we take it. I want this done. 20 minutes later, it's official. Accepted offer. 30-day escrow. By the end of next month, I'll walk away with a 7-figure check and 0 connection to the life I built with Maya. I should feel triumphant. Instead, I feel untethered. Like I'm floating in space with $1 million and no idea where to land. That night, I start apartment hunting. Not in Tribeca, not anywhere Maya and I ever talked about living. I look in Brooklyn, In neighborhoods with actual grocery stores and dive bars and pizza places that don't require reservations. Park Slope, Carroll Gardens, Prospect Heights. Places where $800,000 buys you a brownstone floor-through instead of a sterile two-bedroom with marble everything. Places where people say hello in the elevator. Places that feel like neighborhoods instead of investment opportunities. I find one in Cobble Hill. Second floor of a townhouse. Original details. Tin ceilings, crown molding, working fireplace. The kitchen is small. The bathroom is dated. The floors are scuffed hardwood that's seen decades of life. It's perfect. It's the opposite of everything Maya wanted, which makes it exactly what I need. I'll take it, I tell the seller's agent after a 10-minute showing. Don't you want to think about it? See other options? I've seen enough options. I want this one. It needs work. The kitchen is original to 1,920. The bathroom, I know. I'll renovate. But this time, I'm renovating for me. The offer goes in. That night, asking price. No negotiation. I want this done. While I wait for the paperwork to process, I do something I haven't done in years. I go out. Not to the kind of places Maya liked, the wine bars in Soho, the speakeasies with password entrances, the rooftop lounges where cocktails cost $25 and come with edible flowers. I go to a dive bar in the East Village called Sophie's. It's cash only. The beer is cheap. The jukebox plays actual records. People are there to drink, not to be seen drinking. I order a Budweiser, Maya would die, and I sit at the bar and I just exist. The bartender is maybe 30, covered in tattoos, with the kind of presence that says she's seen everything and isn't impressed by any of it. You look lost, she says, sliding my beer across the bar. That obvious? You're drinking Bud in a bar that has craft options. Either you're lost or you're making a point. Maybe both. And intos. She laughs. Fair enough. I'm Kelly. David. We talk between her serving other customers. She's been bartending for 8 years. Came to New York for art school. Stayed for the chaos. Has a girlfriend who works in publishing. Thinks gentrification is ruining the city, but admits she's part of the problem. What about you? She asks. What's your story? Recently unengaged. Selling my apartment. Starting over at 42. Unengaged. I like that. Makes it sound voluntary. It was, mostly. Good for you. Too many people stay in shit relationships because starting over feels harder than being miserable. Is that experience talking? Every bartender has a failed relationship. It's basically required. She wipes down the bar. But yeah, I stayed with my ex for 3 years too long because we had a lease and a cat and all these shared friends. Felt easier to stay than to divide everything. What changed? I realized I was prioritizing the cat over my happiness. That's a bad sign. I laugh. Who got the cat? She did. I got the friends and the good coffee maker. Honestly, I won. When I leave Sophie's 3 hours later, I'm buzzed and lighter, and I have Kelly's number saved as Dive Bar Wisdom. Not for dating, just for the reminder that other people have survived this, that starting over is possible, that life exists outside the bubble of expensive wine and marble countertops. The next week is a blur of paperwork and packing and slowly dismantling the life I built. I hire a moving company to pack Maya's furniture. The couch, the art, the kitchen gadgets she insisted we needed. I'm donating it all. Every piece she chose, every expensive thing that reminds me of her taste, her vision, her complete disregard for what I wanted, gone. Are you sure? The donation coordinator asks. Some of this is quite valuable. I'm sure. Someone else can appreciate it. I just want it out. What I keep, my books, my father's watch, the tools I used to renovate, the cheap coffee maker I hid in the back of the cabinet, my clothes, the real ones, not the expensive wardrobe Maya curated. Everything that's actually mine. Everything that existed before Maya, and will exist after. I hire movers for the Cobble Hill place. Tell them I need them in 3 weeks. They look at the mostly empty apartment and ask if I'm sure I need a full crew. I'm starting fresh, I explain. New furniture. New everything. Must be nice, one of them says. Clean slate. You have no idea. 2 weeks before closing, Maya texts me. First contact since she accepted the settlement. I heard you're selling the apartment. How did she hear? Mutual friends, probably. The wedding vendors. The network of people who knew us as a couple. Yes, I reply. For how much? Why? Because I lived there for 2 years. Because I helped make it valuable. I stare at that text. The audacity. The absolute gall. You redecorated with my money. That's not the same as adding value. I made it beautiful. You made it expensive. There's a difference. You're really going to profit $1 million from a place we built together and give me nothing? I'm giving you $5,000. We signed an agreement. That agreement was under duress. No, that agreement was under the threat of going to court and getting zero. You chose $5,000. Isn't it too? My lawyer says I can challenge it. I forward the text to Jennifer. She calls immediately. She's bluffing, Jennifer says. The agreement is solid. She accepted. It's done. She's claiming duress. She had her own attorney. She was advised. She accepted. That's not duress. That's buyer's remorse. So what do I do? Nothing. Don't engage. Don't respond. Let her lawyer call me if she wants to challenge it. But David, she won't, because her lawyer knows she has no case. I follow Jennifer's advice. I don't respond. Maya texts 7 more times over the next 2 days. You're really just going to ignore me? This is exactly why I kept Chen's name. You know what? I'm glad we didn't get married. You would have been a terrible husband. Cold, calculating, emotionally unavailable. Emotionally, I hope you're happy alone with your money. You'll never find anyone who puts up with you the way I did. That last one almost gets a response. Almost. Because the thing is, she's right. I'll never find anyone who puts up with me the way she did. Because I'm not looking for someone to put up with me. I'm looking for someone who actually wants me. Someone who sees David Kowalski and thinks, yes, that's the name I want. Not, yes, that's the wallet I want. I delete the texts, block her number, send Jennifer a heads up that Maya might escalate. Then I go back to packing. 1 week before closing, I visit my parents' grave. Not grave, plural, just Mom's. Dad is scattered in Lake Michigan. Mom is buried in a Catholic cemetery in Queens. I haven't been since the funeral 18 months ago. I'm a terrible son. The gravestone is simple. Helen Kowalski, beloved wife and mother. I bring flowers, daisies, her favorite, cheap and cheerful from a bodega. Hi, Mom, I say, feeling ridiculous, but doing it anyway. Sorry, it's been a while. I sit on the grass, tell her about Paris, about Maya, about the apartment sale and the fresh start and the feeling that I'm doing the right thing even though it's terrifying. You were right about her, I say. About Maya. She wasn't soft with me. She wasn't kind. I just wanted her to be so badly that I ignored what was actually there. The wind picks up, leaves scatter across the cemetery. Dad would tell me I did good, right? Standing up for myself? Not letting her take advantage? No response. Obviously. I'm talking to a headstone, but I can hear his voice anyway. You did good, son. You knew your worth. That's all a man can do. I stay for an hour. Tell her about the Cobble Hill apartment. About my plans to renovate it myself slowly this time. For me, not for someone else's vision. About maybe getting a dog. About learning to cook something other than grilled cheese. About trying to figure out who David Kowalski is when he's not performing the role of provider. Before I leave, I put my hand on the headstone. I miss you guys, both of you, but I think I'm going to be okay. Closing day arrives with the bureaucratic fanfare of all real estate transactions. A conference room, multiple attorneys, and enough paperwork to deforest a small country. The buyers, the startup couple, are young, maybe 30, radiating tech money and aggressive optimization. They've already hired contractors, already planned their renovations, already picked out furniture. They remind me of Maya and me 3 years ago. I almost warn them, almost say, make sure you're building something together, not one person funding another person's vision. But I don't. They're not my problem. We sign, and sign, and sign some more. My attorney validates the wire transfer, $3,100,000, minus fees, minus loan payoff, minus taxes set aside. Net proceeds, $1,047,000 transferred to my account. I watch the number appear on my phone. 7 figures. The profit from 3 years of my life. Congratulations, the title company representative says. That's quite a return. Thank you. Do you have plans for the funds? New apartment. Fresh start. Smart. The market is, but I stop listening. Because my phone is buzzing. Maya. She's texting from a new number. I know you closed today. Congratulations on your profit. I should delete it. Block this number too. Instead, I read, I hope it was worth it. The money, the victory, the satisfaction of proving you were right. I hope it keeps you warm at night, because that's all you'll have. Money and receipts and the moral high ground. No one to share it with. No one who knows you. No one who loves you. No one who loves you. Just you and your spreadsheets and your expensive loneliness. Enjoy it, David. You earned it. I close my phone, put it in my pocket, sign the last document, shake hands with the buyers, walk out of the building with $1,047,000 and Maya's curse ringing in my ears. Expensive loneliness. Is that what I bought? That night, I'm supposed to be celebrating. Jennifer suggested drinks. My real estate agent offered to take me to dinner. My mother wanted me to come to Queens for pot roast. Instead, I go to Sophie's. Kelly's behind the bar. She sees me and pours a Budweiser without asking. You look like you closed on something. Sold my apartment today. The fancy Tribeca one? That's the one. How much? $3.1 million. She whistles. That's real money. It is. So why do you look like you lost something? I drink my beer. Consider the question. My ex texted me, said I'll be alone with my money and my moral high ground, that no one will love me. Ouch! She sounds delightful. She's hurt. I get it. Hurt people say hurtful things. Doesn't make them true. Kelly wipes down the bar. Are you alone? Right now? Yes. Are you lonely? Am I lonely? I'm sitting in a dive bar drinking cheap beer while my bank account grows by 7 figures. I have no one to call with the good news. No one who'd celebrate with me. No one who knows that today was both a victory and a funeral. Yeah, I admit, I'm lonely. Good. Good. Lonely means you're ready to connect with someone real. Not just convenient, not just available. Someone who actually matters. How do you know when someone matters? Kelly thinks about it. When you'd rather tell them the truth than protect their feelings. When you'd rather be yourself than be liked. When you'd rather be alone than be with them if they don't see you. I drink to that. Your ex, Kelly says. Did she see you? No. Then you're better off alone. Even if alone is expensive? Especially then. Because the most expensive thing you can do is spend your life with someone who makes you feel worthless. I stay until closing. Help Kelly stack chairs. Walk home through Brooklyn streets that are starting to feel familiar. Tomorrow, I close on the Cobble Hill apartment. Tomorrow, I start building something new. But tonight, I sit with the loneliness. The expensive, hard-won, absolutely necessary loneliness. And I text Rebecca in Paris. You were right. Winning feels empty. Her response comes an hour later. But necessary. You can't build on a broken foundation. You had to tear it all down first. When does the building start? When you're ready, and not a moment before. I fall asleep on my temporary air mattress. I donated the bed, Maya's choice, in my almost empty apartment. Tomorrow, new keys, new space, new life. Tonight, just me and $1,047,000 and the ghost of a woman who thought my name wasn't good enough. But here's what I know now. what Paris taught me, what the spreadsheets proved. My name is enough. Kowalski, ethnic, unglamorous, immigrant, working class, mine, and anyone who doesn't think it's good enough doesn't deserve to wear it. That's not loneliness talking. That's clarity. And clarity, I'm learning, is worth every penny. The Cobble Hill apartment is mine on a Friday. I pick up the keys from the seller's attorney, a woman in her 70s who tells me she's lived in the building for 40 years and is only selling because her kids want her closer to them in Florida. You'll love it, she says, pressing the keys into my hand like a benediction. It's a good building, good bones, good people. Good bones. That's what I need. Something solid to build on. I walk through the empty apartment alone. No real estate agent. No helpful suggestions about what goes where. Just me and my footsteps, echoing on hardwood floors that have held generations of lives. The fireplace has tiles around it original, probably, with Art Nouveau flowers glazed into ceramic. Someone chose those tiles 100 years ago. Someone lived here through the Depression, through wars, through their own private victories and defeats. I'm just the latest person to call this space home. It feels right in a way Tribeca never did. I pull out my phone and I take a photo. Send it to my mom. New place. Moving in tomorrow. Her response, it looks like a home, not a showroom. I'm proud of you, David. Thanks, Mom. Your father would love this. He always said fancy isn't the same as happy. He was right. He usually was. Pot roast Sunday? I want to hear everything. I'll be there. I sit on the floor in what will be my living room. The afternoon light comes through the windows at an angle, catching dust motes like snow. My phone buzzes. Not Maya, I blocked her. Not work, it's Friday evening. It's Jennifer, my attorney. Congratulations on closing. Quick for your information. Maya's attorney called. They're officially dropping any claims. You're clear. Really? Really. I think reality set in. They had no case. She got $5,000 and a lesson in documentation. You got your freedom. Is the sturdy visit. Thanks for everything, Jennifer. My pleasure. You were the most prepared client I've ever had. If you ever need anything else, hopefully not, you know where to find me. I pocket the phone and I let myself feel it. It's really over. No more legal threats. No more demands. No more Maya claiming I owe her for the privilege of ending a relationship where I gave everything. Just over. I should feel victorious. Instead, I feel sad. Not for Maya. For us. For what we could have been if we'd both been different people. If she'd valued partnership over provisions. If I'd valued myself enough to expect it. If we'd built something together instead of me building something for her. But we didn't. And now, it's over. And I'm sitting in an empty apartment with $1 million in the bank and absolutely no idea what to do next. So I do what I always do when I don't know what to do. I make a plan. Saturday morning, I meet with a contractor. His name is Miguel. He was recommended by the seller. Apparently, he's done work throughout the building, knows the quirks, understands old construction. He's maybe 50, with the hands of someone who actually works with them. He walks through the apartment slowly, touching walls, checking windows, making notes. You want to gut it? He asks. No. I want to honor it. Update what needs updating, but keep the character. He smiles. Good answer. Too many people buy these places and rip out everything that made them special. Then they wonder why it feels like every other apartment. We talk for an hour. The kitchen needs work. It's original, 1,920 seconds. Charming, but non-functional. The bathroom needs a complete overhaul. The floors need refinishing. The windows need weather stripping. How much? I ask. Miguel does some calculations. $75,000 for everything. Maybe $80,000 if we find surprises in the walls, which we will. There are always surprises. Can you start Monday? You're not going to get other bids? Do I need to? He laughs. I like you. Most people in this neighborhood, they get 5 bids, negotiate everything, treat contractors like servants. You trust me? The seller trusted you. That's good enough. Okay then. Monday. I'll bring my crew. We'll take care of you. We shake on it. After he leaves, I realize I just committed $80,000 to renovations without Maya's input, without anyone's input. Just my choice, my money, my vision. It feels revolutionary. Sunday, I go to my mother's for pot roast. She lives in Astoria, in the same rent-controlled apartment she and my father moved into 40 years ago. 2 bedrooms, linoleum floors, a kitchen the size of a closet where she somehow produces miracles. The smell hits me when I walk in. Beef, carrots, onions. That specific combination of comfort and memory. David! She hugs me tight. She's gotten smaller, I think. Or I've gotten bigger. Either way, she barely reaches my shoulder. Hi, Mom. Come, sit. Tell me everything. I want to hear about the apartment, about Paris, about that girl, Maya. About Maya, and why she wasn't good enough for my son. We eat at her small table, the one my father refinished when I was 10. The pot roast is perfect. Everything my mother makes is perfect. I tell her everything. The spreadsheet, the name, the flight to Paris, the settlement, the apartment sale, the fresh start. She listens without interrupting, just nods and serves more food and lets me talk. When I'm done, she says, "You know what your father did when we were first married?" What? He kept a notebook, wrote down everything I said I liked. Colors, foods, books, music, stupid things. I mentioned once that I liked yellow roses. For 20 years, every anniversary, yellow roses. I mentioned I wanted to visit Ireland. We never had money for it, but when he died, in his desk, I found a savings account, $14,000, labeled Helen's Ireland trip. My throat tightens. I didn't know that. He never told me. He was saving, planning to surprise me for our 40th anniversary. She wipes her eyes. My point is, that's what love looks like. Paying attention, planning, caring about someone's dreams, even when they're not your dreams. Maya never asked about my dreams. I know, honey. That's why you're here, instead of married to her. We clean up together. She washes, I dry. The rhythm is familiar from childhood. What are your dreams, David? She asks. Now that you're free to have them. I think about it. Really think. I want to teach, I say. Financial literacy. At community colleges. Help people who grew up like we did understand money, so they don't get taken advantage of. So do it. I have a job, a career. You have money in the bank and an empty calendar. You can do both. She's right. I can. Before I leave, she packs me leftovers enough pot roast for a week, and she hugs me again. I'm proud of you, she says, for knowing when to leave. That takes courage. Or cowardice. It's only cowardice if you're running from the truth. You ran toward it. Big difference. Monday, Miguel and his crew arrive at 7 a.m. They're respectful, efficient, surprisingly quiet for people tearing apart a kitchen. I work from coffee shops during the day. There are dozens in the neighborhood, all with good Wi-Fi and better coffee than anything Maya's Italian machine ever made. I meet people, other freelancers, writers, artists, people who chose Brooklyn because they actually like community, not because it's an investment opportunity. At one coffee shop, a place called Cafe Grumpy, which I appreciate for its honesty, I meet a woman named Sarah. She's a high school teacher, English, grading papers at the table next to mine. She has red pen everywhere on her hands. On the paper, a smudge on her cheek. Rough batch? I ask, nodding at the papers. Sophomore essays on The Great Gatsby. They all think it's a love story. It's not a love story. It's a tragedy about the American dream and obsession and class warfare. Maybe it's both. She looks up, really looks. Are you defending teenage literary analysis? I'm suggesting that love and tragedy aren't mutually exclusive. She laughs. Fair point. I'm Sarah. David. We talk for 20 minutes. She's been teaching for 8 years. Loves it, hates it, can't imagine doing anything else. Lives in Park Slope with 2 roommates because teacher salaries in New York are a cruel joke.
She doesn't ask what I do, doesn't ask if I'm married, doesn't perform the usual social calculations of, is this person useful to me? She just talks. About books, about her students, about the way the city is changing and whether it's better or worse or just different. It's the most human conversation I've had in months. When she has to leave class in 20 minutes, she says, "Hey, if you like coffee shop conversations with strangers, I'm here most Mondays. Grading papers, contemplating career choices. I might take you up on that. Please do. My roommates are sick of hearing about Gatsby." After she leaves, I realize I didn't get her number, didn't ask for social media, didn't try to turn a nice conversation into something transactional. I just had a conversation with someone who saw me as a person, not a prospect. It felt good. The renovations take 3 weeks. Miguel's crew works magic. The kitchen becomes functional but charming white subway tile. Open shelving, butcher block counters. Not expensive, just good. The bathroom gets a clawfoot tub I found at a salvage yard in Red Hook. Hex tile floors. A vintage medicine cabinet with a mirror that's probably seen a century of faces. The floors get refinished to their original honey color. The fireplace gets cleaned. The windows get fixed. And through it all, I'm there. Not watching, helping. I learn to tile, to grout, to install a toilet without flooding the bathroom on the second try. Miguel teaches me, patiently, like I'm worth teaching. "You're good at this," he says one afternoon while we're grouting the bathroom floor. "I like working with my hands." End quote. You should do more of it. You have the touch. Not everyone does. I renovated my last place. Did all the work. For you or for someone else? I pause, mid-grout. Someone else. And this time? This time it's mine. He nods. You can tell. When someone's building for themselves, it's different. There's love in it. Not perfection. Love. That night, I sit in my almost finished apartment furniture, arriving tomorrow, utilities connected, life ready to begin, and I think about Miguel's words. Love, not perfection. Maya wanted perfection. Wanted everything just so. Wanted the kind of apartment that looks good in photos. I want love. Want a space that feels good to live in. Want imperfect hex tiles and scuffed hardwood and windows that stick a little. Want human. My phone buzzes. Sarah, the teacher from the coffee shop. Wait, I didn't give her my number either. But the text is from a number I don't recognize. David, it's Sarah from Cafe Grumpy. I asked the barista if he knew you. He had your number from your coffee subscription. Is this creepy? This might be creepy. I laugh out loud. Not creepy. Resourceful. Good. I wanted to thank you for the Gatsby conversation. My students actually had better essays this week. I told them love and tragedy aren't mutually exclusive, and it broke something open. Happy to help. So, there's a reading at Book Court Wednesday night. Local author. Fiction. Probably terrible wine. Want to come? A reading. At a bookstore. With terrible wine. Maya would hate it. Too lowbrow. Too Brooklyn. Too uncurated. I'd love to. Understand. Why, great. 7 p.m. I'll save you a seat. I put down my phone, and I smile. A teacher who grades papers in coffee shops. Who asked a barista for my number? Who wants to go to a reading with terrible wine? This is not a transaction. This is not someone seeing my wallet. This is just human. And human, I'm learning, is exactly what I need. Wednesday night, I meet Sarah at Book Court. She's wearing jeans and a sweater with a small hole in the sleeve. Her hair is up in a messy bun. She has no makeup. She looks real. You came, she says, like she's genuinely surprised. I said I would. People say a lot of things. We find seats in the back. The author reads from her novel, something about immigrant families in Queens, about loss and memory and the weight of expectations. It's beautiful, raw, nothing like the polished literary fiction Maya used to drag me to where every sentence felt performed. This feels true. During the Q&A,
Sarah asks a question about narrative structure. The author lights up. They talk for 5 minutes about point of view and reliability and the way memory distorts truth. I watch Sarah talk, the way her hands move, the way she leans forward when she's interested, the way she listens. She sees people, really sees them. After, we walk to a bar down the street, order the terrible wine the bookstore promised. So, what do you do? Sarah finally asks. We've talked twice, and I just realized I don't know. Financial consultant. I help people with divorce planning, asset protection, forensic accounting. Forensic accounting? Like CSI for money? Exactly like that. As watered down. That's so specific. How'd you get into it? My dad was a cop, then a teacher. He taught me that numbers tell stories, that patterns reveal truth, that documentation beats memory every time. Smart man. He was, died 2 years ago. Heart attack. I'm sorry. And she is. I can tell. It's not performative sympathy. It's real. We talk for 2 hours. About her students, about my work, about our families, about the city and how it changes, and whether we're changing with it or getting left behind. She tells me about her ex, a musician who thought he was the next Bob Dylan but was really just unemployed with a guitar. How she supported him for 3 years before realizing he wasn't chasing a dream, he was avoiding reality. I broke up with him 2 years ago, she says. Best decision I ever made, but also the hardest, because I really believed in him, in us, in the story we were telling ourselves. What changed? I realized I was the only one building. He was just living in what I built, using it, appreciating it even, but not building. I set down my wine. That's exactly what happened with me. Your ex? Maya. I start over. She lived in what I built, financially, physically, emotionally. But she never built with me. Did you tell her? Eventually, with a spreadsheet. Sarah laughs. Of course you did! Forensic accountant! She called it abusive. Was it? I don't think so. But I don't know. Is it abusive to show someone the truth they don't want to see? Sarah thinks about it. No. But it's aggressive. It's confrontational. It's decisive. Which is scary for people who benefit from ambiguity. She benefited from a lot. And now I'm in Cobble Hill. Renovating. Starting over. Trying to figure out who I am when I'm not funding someone else's vision. How's that going? Ask me in 6 months. We leave the bar around midnight. Sarah has school in the morning. I have a client meeting at 9. At the subway, she says, this was really nice. We should do it again. I'd like that. Next week, there's a film series at BAM. French New Wave. Probably pretentious. Definitely subtitles. Maya hated subtitles. Said they ruined the viewing experience. I love subtitles, I say. Good. It's a date then. She pauses. Or not a date. A friend thing. Unless, is it a date? Do you want it to be? I don't know yet. Is that okay? That's perfect. She smiles, gets on the train, waves through the window as it pulls away. I walk home through Brooklyn streets that are starting to feel like mine. A teacher who doesn't know if she's on a date, who wears sweaters with holes, who asks questions about narrative structure, who thinks my spreadsheet was aggressive but not abusive. This is not Maya. This is not perfect or curated or expensive. This is real. And real, I'm learning, is worth infinitely more than perfect. I get home to my apartment finally furnished, finally mine, and I sit in the chair I bought at a thrift store in Greenpoint. It's not designer. It's not expensive. It's just comfortable. Like this life I'm building. One imperfect choice at a time. And somewhere, in a penthouse in Tribeca, Maya is probably telling someone how I wronged her. How I tracked expenses and fled to Paris and broke her heart with numbers. Let her. I know the truth. The numbers know the truth. And the truth is, I didn't break her heart. I just stopped funding her fantasy. And that freed us both. Even if she doesn't see it yet. My phone buzzes. Home safe. Thanks for tonight. Gatsby was right about one thing.
You can't repeat the past, but you can build something better in the present. Is that from the book or from you? From my students, after I stole your line about love and tragedy. Steal away. See you next week. It's definitely a date, by the way, I decided. I smile at my phone like an idiot. A date with someone who saw me and chose forward. That's all I ever wanted from Maya, but I'm getting it from Sarah instead. And maybe that's how it's supposed to work. Maybe you don't get what you want from the person you expected. Maybe you get it from the person who shows up, who sees you, who thinks your name is good enough. Kowalski, ethnic, unglamorous, working class, mine. And for Sarah, teacher, reader, grader of essays, wearer of holy sweaters, it seems to be enough. That's not settling, that's winning. Finally, 6 months after Paris, I'm standing in front of 30 community college students at LaGuardia Community College in Queens, teaching Introduction to Personal Finance. It's Tuesday evening. Most of them work full-time. Most of them are first-generation college students. Most of them look exactly like I did at 19, tired, determined, terrified of money, because no one ever taught them how it works. Compound interest, I'm saying, writing on the whiteboard, is either your best friend or your worst enemy. There's no in between. A woman in the front row, Maria, mid-30s, 2 kids, works at a hospital, raises her hand. How do you make it your friend? You save early, you invest consistently, you avoid debt whenever possible, and you never ever pay just the minimum on a credit card. I pull up a slide. 2 scenarios. Person A saves $200, month starting at age 25. Person B saves $400, month starting at age 35. By age 65, Person A has more money despite contributing less. Time is more valuable than money, I say. That's the secret they don't teach you. Maria writes that down like it's scripture. After class, she stays behind. Professor Kowalski. Just David. I'm not a professor, just a guy who knows about money. David, then, can I ask you something personal? Sure. Why are you doing this? Teaching here. You could make so much more in the private sector. I lean against the desk. Think about how to answer. Because someone should have taught my parents this stuff. They worked their whole lives, saved what they could, but they didn't understand investing. Didn't know about tax-advantaged accounts. Didn't know they could negotiate. They thought being good with money meant not spending it. And they were half right. You do need to not spend foolishly, but you also need to make your money work for you. I want to teach people that, especially people like us, people who weren't born knowing this stuff. Maria nods. My parents too. They kept everything in cash, under the mattress. Didn't trust banks. A lot of immigrant families do that. Are you? She hesitates. Is Kowalski Polish? My grandfather came through Ellis Island in 1952. Brought nothing but the name. She smiles. My parents are from Ecuador. Brought nothing but hope. Then we're the same. Thank you, she says, for this class, for seeing us. After she leaves, I pack up my materials, check my phone, 2 texts. How was class? Did you inspire the youths? I tried. Mostly I talked about compound interest until their eyes glazed over. Sexy. See you at my place at 8? I'm making pasta. I'll bring wine. Bring the cheap stuff. I can't tell the difference. The second text is from my mother. Pot roast Sunday? I'm making extra. Bring Sarah if she wants. I smile. My mother loves Sarah. Says she's real people, which is the highest compliment my mother gives. I text back, we'll be there. Then I take the subway to Sarah's apartment in Park Slope. Sarah lives on the 3rd floor of a walk-up with 2 roommates, both teachers, both perpetually grading papers in the living room. Her room is small, books everywhere, a desk covered in student essays, a bed that's too soft, walls painted a color she calls exhausted yellow, which is apparently different from regular yellow in ways I don't understand. It's perfect. She answers the door in sweatpants and a Strand bookstore t-shirt, hair piled on her head, red pen behind her ear. You're late, she says, kissing me. Class ran over. Maria had questions about 401. End quote. Of course she did.
You're a good teacher.
I'm not a teacher. I'm a financial consultant who teaches one class.
You're a teacher, Sarah insists, pulling me inside. Teachers teach. You teach. Ergo, teacher. Her roommate, Jessica, waves from the couch where she's grading papers.
Hey, David. Sarah's been cooking for an hour. Whatever it is, smells amazing.
The pasta is spaghetti carbonara. Simple, perfect, made with ingredients that cost maybe $15 total. We eat at Sarah's small table, knees touching, talking about our days. She tells me about her sophomore who finally understood metaphor after 6 weeks of trying, about her department head who wants to cut funding for the library, about the kid who wrote her a thank you note for making English not boring. I tell her about Maria, about my regular clients, the divorce cases, the asset protection strategies, the endless human drama of money and marriage. Do you ever think about it? Sarah asks. Your ex, the spreadsheet, whether you were too harsh. I've been thinking about this a lot lately. Sometimes, I admit, but then I remember, she wanted $50,000 to walk away from a relationship where I paid for everything, and she thought that was reasonable. Was the spreadsheet reasonable? I think the spreadsheet was honest. Honest and reasonable aren't the same thing. No, but honest is more important. Sarah nods. I had a student write an essay about you. Well, about your situation. She didn't know you specifically, but about her dad who tracked everything her mom spent. She called it financial abuse. And this word.com. My stomach tightens. What did you say? I said context matters. That tracking someone's spending to control them is different than documenting your own contributions to understand a dynamic. And she said, how do you know the difference? What did you tell her? Sarah sets down her fork. I told her, if you're tracking to control, that's abuse. If you're tracking to understand, that's self-protection. Intent matters. What was my intent? You tell me. I think about it. Really think. My intent was to see clearly, to stop lying to myself about what was happening, to have evidence of the truth. Then that's your answer. We clean up together. Wash dishes side by side. The domesticity of it still surprises me how easy it is, how uncomplicated, how she never comments on the cost of the wine I brought or suggests we upgrade the dish soap. After, we lie on her too-soft bed, reading. She's grading essays. I'm reviewing a client portfolio. Around 11, she sets down her red pen. Can I ask you something? Always. When you think about Maya now, what do you feel? Honestly, relief, sadness, and gratitude. Gratitude? That she showed me who she was, that I paid attention, that I left before I married someone who would have spent our entire marriage making me feel insufficient. Sarah is quiet for a moment. Do I make you feel sufficient? The question catches me off guard. You make me feel seen, I say. That's better than sufficient. Good. She turns back to her essays. Because you're definitely sufficient. Very sufficient. Perhaps even excessively sufficient. I laugh. Excessively sufficient? I'm an English teacher. I have adjectives to spare. Sunday dinner at my mother's has become a ritual. Sarah and I take the subway to Astoria. My mother is waiting with pot roast and opinions. You're too skinny, she tells Sarah immediately. Both of you. Do you eat? We eat, Sarah says. David cooks. He cooks? What does he cook? Eggs mostly. I admit. I'm learning. My mother shakes her head. I'll send you home with containers. You need real food. Over dinner, my mother interrogates Sarah with the gentle persistence of someone who spent 40 years getting confessions out of my father. What are your intentions with my son? Mom, it's fine, Sarah says. My intentions are to continue enjoying his company, engage in spirited debates about financial literacy, and perhaps convince him that teaching full-time is more fulfilling than consulting. My mother looks at me. You're thinking about teaching full-time? Not thinking. Just, Sarah thinks I'm good at it. You are good at it, Sarah insists.
Your students love you. Maria emails you questions at midnight. That kid, what's his name, Jose, he told me you changed his life.
He did? He's in my English class. He mentioned his finance teacher helped him open a Roth IRA. I said, that's amazing. He said, Mr. Kowalski says time is more valuable than money. I'm not wasting mine anymore.
Something swells in my chest. Pride, maybe. Or purpose.
See, my mother says, you're a teacher, like your father. Dad taught history.
Well, that's wise. Dad taught kids how to think. Same thing.
After dinner, Sarah helps with dishes while my mother corners me in the living room.
I like her, she says. I'm glad.
End quote. She's nothing like Maya. I know. That's good. Maya was, my mother searches for the word, expensive. Expensive? Everything with her costs something. Not just money, energy, peace, you. She cost you. And Sarah? My mother smiles. Sarah is free, not because she doesn't cost anything, but because what she costs is what relationships should cost. Attention, honesty, showing up, the good costs. That night, walking Sarah home through Brooklyn, she asks, do you think about her still? Maya, sometimes, less than I used to. What do you think about? Whether I was the villain in her story, whether the spreadsheet was cruel, whether I should have just talked to her instead of documenting everything. Would she have listened? Would she? I remember conversations we had, me trying to explain that I felt taken for granted, her dismissing it, telling me I was being sensitive, that providing for your partner is what you do. No, I say, she wouldn't have listened. Then the spreadsheet was just making visible what she refused to see. Is that fair? Is letting someone use you fair? We're quiet for a while, walking through streets that are mine now. Ours. I heard from Dominique last week, I say. The wedding planner? She said Maya got engaged to someone named Marcus, a surgeon. Sarah stops walking. How do you feel about that? Relieved, mostly. That she found someone. That I'm not her villain anymore. That maybe she learned something. Or maybe she found another wallet. Maybe. Does it hurt? I think about it. Really examine the feeling.
No, it doesn't hurt. It just confirms things. That we wanted different things. That I was right to leave.
Were you hoping you were wrong? Was I? Was some part of me hoping Maya would realize what she lost? That she'd apologize? That the spreadsheet would transform her into someone who valued partnership over provisions? Maybe. I admit. Maybe part of me wanted to be the lesson she learned. The one that changed her. And now I realize, I'm not responsible for her growth. I'm only responsible for mine. Sarah takes my hand. That's very evolved of you. Is it? Or is it just self-protection disguised as wisdom? Can't it be both? We reach her building. Stand on the steps. Want to come up? She asks. It's late. You have school. I have a prep period first thing. I can grade on the subway. I follow her up 3 flights. We fall asleep in her too-soft bed, her head on my chest, my hand in her hair. And I realize, this is what I was looking for. Not perfection, not expensive furniture or Italian coffee machines, or vacations that cost more than most people's cars. Just this. Someone who grades on the subway, who makes $15 pasta, who thinks I'm a teacher even when I don't. Someone who sees David Kowalski, Polish grandson, forensic accountant, amateur carpenter, community college instructor, and thinks, yes, that's enough. Not someone who needs my resources, someone who wants my time. That's the difference. That's everything. 3 weeks later, I get an email. It's from Maya. Subject line, I owe you an apology. I stare at it for 10 minutes before opening. David, I'm getting married. I'm sure you heard. News travels in our circles. His name is Marcus. He's a cardiothoracic surgeon. He's successful and kind. And he proposed after 6 months because, when you know, you know. I said yes. And then I sat down to plan the wedding, and I realized something. I'm doing it again. Marcus wants a small ceremony. City Hall, maybe. Close friends. Simple. I want Tribeca rooftop. I want peonies. I want a dress that costs more than most people's monthly rent. He asked me why. I told him, it's important to me, that a wedding is a once-in-a-lifetime event. He said, what about the marriage? Is that important? And I didn't have an answer. I've been thinking about that. About us. About what happened. You were right. Not about everything. The spreadsheet was aggressive and hurtful, and I'll probably always see it as a violation. But you were right about the core of it. I didn't see you. I saw what you could do for me, what you could provide, how you could help me build the life I wanted. I never asked what you wanted. I never asked what would make you happy. I just assumed that making me happy would make you happy. And when you showed me that wasn't true, when you showed me the actual cost of my happiness, I got defensive. I attacked. I called you abusive. I'm sorry for that. You weren't abusive. You were protecting yourself. And I was too entitled to see the difference. I hope you're happy now. I hope you found someone who sees you, who values you, who thinks your name is good enough. Because it is. It always was. I was just too focused on what I wanted to notice. I'm trying to be different with Marcus, to ask questions, to care about his dreams, not just how he fits into mine. It's harder than I thought, but I'm trying. Thank you for the lesson. Even though it cost you $250,000 and a wedding, even though it cost me you deserve better than what I gave you. I hope you found it. Maya. I read the email 3 times. Then I forwarded it to Sarah with one line. Closure is weird. Her response? Closure is a gift, even when it comes late. I think about responding to Maya, telling her I'm happy, that I did find someone, that I'm teaching and renovating and building a life that's mine. But I don't, because she's not owed my happiness. She's not owed anything. The $5,000 was closure enough. Instead, I delete the email, not with anger, just with finality. She had her say. She apologized. She grew. Good for her. But her growth isn't my responsibility. Her happiness isn't my project. I have my own life to build. That night, I meet Sarah at book court for another reading. Same terrible wine. Same folding chairs. Different author, this time a poet who writes about immigration and belonging and the weight of names. One poem is called Ellis Island Surnames. It's about names that got shortened, anglicized, erased, about identity lost in translation, about grandchildren who don't speak their grandparents' language, about what it cost to belong. After, Sarah squeezes my hand. You okay? Yeah, just thinking. About? About my grandfather, arriving with nothing but Kowalski, refusing to change it, refusing to make it easier for Americans to pronounce. Why? End quote. Because it was his, because it meant something, because giving it up would have been giving up himself. Sarah nods. And Maya wanted you to give it up. Not directly, but yeah, in a way. I'm glad you didn't. Yeah? Yeah. Kowalski is a good name. It sounds like someone who shows up, who does the work, who keeps his word. That's very specific. That's you. We walk home through Brooklyn, our neighborhood now. We've been dating 4 months. She stays at my place 3 nights a week. I stay at hers too. We haven't talked about moving in together. We're not rushing. For the first time in my life, I'm not rushing. At my door, Sarah says, I got offered a department chair position. That's amazing. Congratulations. It's more money, more responsibility, more meetings about budgets and test scores and all the administrative stuff I hate. But, end quote. But I'd have more influence, could protect my teachers, could actually make changes instead of just complaining about them. What are you going to do? I don't know. What do you think? And there it is. The question Maya never asked. What do you think? Not, this is what I'm doing. Not, support my decision. What do you think? I think, I say carefully, that you should do whatever makes you excited to wake up in the morning. Money is useful, power is useful, but excitement is essential. What if I'm excited about the power to make change, but terrified of the responsibility? Then you do it anyway, because the best things are usually terrifying. She kisses me. That's good advice. I'm a financial consultant. I have advice to spare. And a teacher. Don't forget teacher. And a teacher. She goes inside. I climb to my apartment, my home, finally furnished, finally mine. I pour myself a whiskey. Not Macallan, just regular bourbon. It tastes fine. I sit in my thrift store chair. Look around at the life I've built. Imperfect floors, salvaged bathtub, books everywhere, tools in the corner because I'm building shelves next weekend. A kitchen table I bought on Craigslist. A couch that's comfortable but ugly. A home that cost $800,000 instead of $3 million. A girlfriend who teaches public school and wears holey sweaters and makes $15 pasta. A community college class that pays $3,000 a semester. A mother in Queens who makes pot roast. A name Kowalski that someone finally thinks is enough. This life cost me $247,000 to escape the other one. Was it worth it? I think about Maya's email, her apology, her growth. I think about Maria in my class, learning about compound interest. I think about Sarah asking, "What do you think?" I think about Miguel teaching me to grout. I think about my father's watch on my nightstand. I think about being seen, really seen, not for what I provide, for who I am. Yeah, it was worth every penny. Epilogue. 1 year later. I'm standing in the back of a classroom at LaGuardia Community College. It's graduation day for the spring semester, not the official graduation that's at the arena with thousands of students. This is the personal finance class completion ceremony. Just my 30 students and their families. Maria is speaking. She's the class representative. "A year ago," she says, "I didn't know what a 400 and wunk was. I thought investing was for rich people. I thought I'd work until I died and hope Social Security would be enough." Professor Kowalski taught us that we have choices, that time is more valuable than money, that documentation beats memory, that compound interest is either your best friend or your worst enemy, and we get to choose which. She looks at me. He taught us that knowing our worth isn't arrogant. It's necessary, and that sometimes the most expensive thing you can do is stay where you're not valued. After the ceremony, students and families gather for coffee and grocery store cake. Jose, the kid who opened a Roth IRA, introduces me to his mother. She hugs me, says something in Spanish I don't understand but feel completely. Maria's kids give me drawings they made. One is labeled Mr. K, teaching us about money. I'm a stick figure with a very large calculator. It's perfect. Sarah arrives late, straight from her school. She's department chair now, hates the meetings, loves the power to protect her teachers. "Sorry," she says, kissing my cheek. "Budget meeting ran long. How was it?" "Good." Maria gave a speech. "Did you cry?" "No." "Liar. I can see your eyes." We walk home together. Stop for tacos at the place on Smith Street. Eat on a bench in Carroll Park, while kids play and dogs run and Brooklyn happens around us. I got offered a full-time position, I say. At the college, director of financial education. I'd run the program, teach 2 classes, develop curriculum. That's huge. It pays $75,000. I make $240,000 consulting. But I'd be happy. Sarah is quiet for a moment. What does happy cost? $165,000 in salary, plus bonuses from consulting clients I'd have to drop. Call it $200,000 total. Can you afford it? I think about my accounts. The money from the apartment sale, the savings I've rebuilt, the life I've constructed. Yeah, I can afford it. Then the question isn't can you afford it? It's, is happiness worth $200,000? I think about Maria, about Jose, about teaching kids that compound interest starts with believing you deserve a future. About my father, who took a pay cut to teach after retirement because it fed something in him that police work never did. About being seen for who I am, not what I earn. Yeah, I say. It's worth it. Sarah smiles. Then do it. Just like that. Just like that. We finish our tacos. Walk home. She stays over most nights now. She stays over. We've talked about her moving in. Decided to wait until summer when her lease is up. We're not rushing. That night, lying in bed, Sarah says, "I'm proud of you. For taking a pay cut, for knowing what you want, for choosing it, for not measuring your worth in dollars anymore. I'm a financial consultant. Dollars are kind of my thing. You're a teacher who happens to understand money. There's a difference. Maybe she's right. Maybe I'm finally both. Someone who understands the mathematics of compound interest and the algebra of human worth. Someone who knows that $247,000 was expensive but necessary. That $200,000 in lost income is cheap for daily happiness. That some equations don't balance on paper but make perfect sense in practice. My phone buzzes. An email from the college. The offer letter. Director of Financial Education. $75,000. Salary. Full benefits. 2 weeks vacation. Start date. August 15th. I read it twice. Then I hit reply. I accept. Thank you for this opportunity. Send. Done. Sarah reads over my shoulder. How does it feel? Terrifying. Exciting. Right. The best things usually are. I set down my phone. Pull her closer. Outside, Brooklyn hums, sirens, music, the eternal soundtrack of the city. Inside, it's quiet, just us and the life we're building. Slowly, honestly, together. No spreadsheets required, just showing up, seeing each other, choosing forward. That's the real compound interest, I think. Time plus attention plus actually being seen. Over years, it grows into something exponential, something you can't track in dollars, something worth infinitely more than any return on investment, something like love, real love. The kind that thinks your name, whatever name you carry, is exactly right. Kowalski, Polish, working class, immigrant, mine, finally enough.